Begin transmission. Hello, everybody. It's another Friday night here, and that means one thing only. Outer Rim Transmission is coming to you live via Star Raptors YouTube channel. This is episode number 56. It's just me and Ben this week. We're going to have Milton join us for our May the 4th special next week. We'll get into all that, but for this week, we have some good stuff to talk about. It's always a good week when you have a brand new Star Wars series that's announced, and we're going to talk about the interesting way that Tales of the Jedi was announced this week. Plus, we have an update on Jedi Fallen Order, maybe a possible new Star Wars game in the works as well, and much more, all on Outer Rim Transmission. So how's it going, Ben?
Good, good. It's been a pretty good week. I actually didn't play Lego this week. It was just kind of I just wasn't in a big video gaming mood this week. It was more of a streaming week, watching shows, that sort of thing, working out, really getting back in a good fitness groove after I had a little bit of a strain last week. So just getting back into things is really nice. Just taking it easy, but working my way back into some like heavier lifting and stuff. So it was a pretty good week overall as a whole. And then, of course, as I say every week, watched the new Halo episode yesterday, and it was incredible as always. Like that show to me, like I don't know, it's so crazy to say, but like the quality of that show, that's what I aspired the Book of Boba Fett to be, and that's not what we got. Like this Halo is by far, in my opinion, the best show. Like between that or Book of Boba, just because it's just overall, I just think better action, better story, better characters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And like that show, I've really, really enjoyed it a lot. And to keep this in like the Star Wars realm of things, I would really like. I mean, I know you've been watching the show as well. I really think Pablo Schreiber could fit really well in some type of a Star Wars role, like some type of that combat type of role. Like I feel like he could fit in the Star Wars universe very nicely, actually.
Yeah, I've also been watching and enjoying Halo, the series. And like you said, Ben, I think Pablo Schreiber would work really well. Like, hey, if they do an Old Republic series, have him as like as like a captain or a commander on the battlefield. Like, because he is
Yep.
just. And I enjoy what they do on a week to week. They have something called Declassified with the Halo. Each episode they have like a 30-minute deep dive breakdown. They have interviews with the actors. They have behind the scenes. On this week it was music. Then they have a little segment on the fans. They had this guy that was really an awesome artist, and he was talking about his inspiration. And then they have like a little teaser for the next episode. And it's all within 30 minutes. And they showed it also with the combat training that Pablo Schreiber and his three other Spartan teammates went through, and it's literally like these guys are like firing blank weapons and everything else like in formations, and it's really impressive. So I'm just sitting there like, yeah, they got a week worth of military training. This guy would translate pretty well as one of those like very serious strong combatants to go up against.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I feel like he could. In another one, I feel like that could fit really well is the actress that plays Dr. Halsey. Just because, I mean, hey, British people in Star Wars, like, hey, have her play what's her name, the female like Imperial Admiral, like post Episode 6.
Oh, Ray Sloan or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna say maybe have her play like Ray Sloan or something, because maybe she'd fall into that like age category by then. Like I feel like she could fit well. A lot of these characters really could fit well. Like overall, yeah, this show I think is doing a good job with all of that. So yeah, I mean we have that, and then like for me overall, just to throw out there as well, like my week in Star Wars, like it just wasn't too exciting. It wasn't too eventful. Nothing too crazy. No exciting finds at stores or anything. No, I didn't. Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't play much of any video games this week for the most part. And yeah, my Star Wars week was real simple. Like all it literally consisted of was I watched the first episode of Rebels or second episode of Rebels,
Oh,
whichever one it was, where when Vader fights Kanan and Ezra. I watched that earlier in the week, and it's just such a good episode because, like, I just love, it's so crazy watching that show and just knowing that was produced by Disney, like how intense they make Vader, and that was on the Disney XD network, like it was on television. And just seeing how overpowered Vader was, like, Kanan and Ezra, they like crush him with like this, just debris stuff or whatever, and he just throws it to the side and just goes ham on him. And you have Sabine shooting at him, and like, Vader deflects her blast and everything, and it hits her square in the head. So like, that was a kill shot. That was a kill shot basically for what it was. And then like even when Vader was like pushing his lightsaber back against Ezra, like, he was pushing it back to like decapitate him basically. So it's like that's crazy. They like implied that much like brutality on Vader just through an animated series. Like I thought that was really impressive, especially considering that was early on in the Disney era when they were being very, I would say, conservative. Like, I mean, Force Awakens is what it is, but it's a very conservative film. Like that was in the early conservative years of the Disney era. So for them pushing that with an animated form of Vader, I thought was actually really impressive looking back on it now.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. We got a couple people in the chat. We have Chris Forsyth chiming in on Dr. Halsey. He's saying the chick from Californication. I don't know. I've never watched that. We also have Dave Reese. Sounds like good things are forthcoming. Oh, they certainly are. We'll get into all that this week. As far as for me is concerned, well, if you guys have been paying attention to the channel, I've been playing Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. I play a couple times a week to kind of get through each movie at a time. Been really much enjoying doing the live stream with all of you that join live, and we have chats and conversations along the way. So right now, the next one I'll be playing is Empire Strikes Back, and I should be able to do that one tomorrow. So yeah, I'm just cracking away at that. I have some celebration costume stuff I've been working on. I don't know if I want to actually reveal who I'm working on right now because I feel like it'd be a cool like little social media thing when it's all said and done. Be like, whoa, that's cool. So
Yeah.
I'll save that for now. But other than that, man, it's things are getting close, and that's all I really care about is celebration. We'll get into the panels this week. We got a big panel
I
spread.
I was gonna say I will throw out one little thing in for my week in Star Wars. I did forgot to mention that I thought was pretty funny. I started busting up laughing when me and my buddy were hanging out this week watching the NFL draft. We were talking about like, if you could do like one thing with something Star Wars, like anything related like to Star Wars other than like making a movie or whatever. And like I said, one of the best things in general, I would love to get a sit down and honest watch through commentary, like sitting down, just, hey, me and George Lucas in the room, sitting down and watching all 9 movies just to get his honest opinion about everything. Like, I think that would be like the greatest thing just to hear what George really has to say about all of this. Like, so yeah, that was just a little random thing that came up in conversation that I think would just be a blast, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think with George, man. I just want to see more George. If he shows up at Celebration, I
Yep.
will be very surprised because, well, I don't even think he's anywhere near California, but who knows? I know he's got that museum opening up, so he's a character. He's definitely
Oh, oh yeah,
very
he
fun to
definitely is.
watch.
I think, I mean, there's a potential of him maybe showing up for Celebration because there was all those little rumblings about maybe him, checking out some of the Andor stuff and whatnot because he was, he liked Rogue One from all intents and purposes, what it sounded like. So, there's maybe a chance, and if that'd be the case, you guys at Celebration are gonna have a great time.
Heck yeah. So, speaking of housekeeping, celebrations coming up. For those of you watching live, you could also download the podcast. It goes up for download every Monday morning. And if you are usually listening, you could always watch us live as well. I'm trying to input more video kind of content along the way here, so it gives you guys an idea and a chance to see what the difference is. But either way, if you're listening, if you're watching, thanks for the support. As always, there's even more ways to support the channel now. If you're watching live, we have super chats enabled, super stickers enabled. Think of it as basically a tip jar for the channel. It all goes to things like Celebration for producing content that I'll be doing out there, things for things I'll hand out like stickers and pins and stuff that I already have. It goes towards that. So make sure you go ahead and do that. There's also super thanks on the channel, which is a little heart thing under the videos. You could also hit on that and it's like whatever. None of it is necessary, but if you feel like tipping, that's always an option. So thank you very much for everybody supporting the channel so far, and looking forward to take it to greater heights in the next couple months and weeks and years, hopefully. So with that being said, out this week was a really, really good Star Wars comic. I'm going to talk about it real quick, and that is Star Wars Crimson Reign #4. This is that miniseries, of 5-parter. We're getting down to the wire here. It's all about Kira trying to put up a big force against the Emperor and Vader. Well, we know how that's going to end up, most likely. In this latest issue, her team is the Knights of Ren. We see Knights of Ren in this time period that we haven't seen them before because we're used to seeing them in the sequel trilogy. But no, they were around for a very long time. And they go on a mission for Kira where she has them retrieving a key from inside Vader's castle in Mustafar. So you can imagine how that goes. It goes pretty well. They get in there, they infiltrate. You see them using the Force as the Knights of Ren to like get into the secret entrance underneath. And just when they think that it was easy enough to get this thing, Vader shows up and wrecks shop, kills one of them, maybe two of them, and then basically they actually get away with the key. And they don't know what the key is for, and that's where the cliffhanger is, because like, okay, we got this key. What's so important about it? Is it some Sith relic that Kira has gotten her hands on? Maybe it's going to use it against Vader and Palpatine. I don't know, but this was one of those issues. Again, Charles Soule is the writer, and most of the time that Charles Soule writes Star Wars, he pretty much knocks it out of the park, right? So, again, this is one of those issues that I would suggest if you have any interest in the Knights of Ren, you're going to want to pick this one up. This was Crimson Reign #4. I'm very much hoping to learn more about what comes next in Celebration in a couple of weeks when we have a Marvel panel, and we'll talk about the panels in a little bit here. But overall, man, I think this is great because there's even a tidbit of information where Vader or somebody says like something about like your master or something, or no, it was Ren. So Ren is just a title that is handed down to people that kill the Ren before them, so that's why it's Kylo Ren. Like Kylo Ren killed the Ren before him, took his name. That's all in the Rise of Kylo Ren miniseries, which was created by Charles Soule. So it sounds to me like the Knights of Ren have been around for literally years and years and years, and we don't know how long. But I like the idea that, the further that this new canon for Star Wars goes on, the more that Lucasfilm is introducing these other Force sects that use the power, right? So you have Sith, you have Jedi, you have the Night Sisters, and now I'd kind of put the Knights of Ren in that category. I would say, okay, the Knights of Ren are basically their own little thing of Force users throughout the years. I'd like to see these guys maybe pop up in Old Republic or something. And the idea that Vader has said, or no, Ren has said they've been hiding out, and they said that the Empire has been too busy taking out the remnant Jedi. Remember, this is an Empire Strikes Back, so it's already been 20 years. The Empire's been too busy hunting down the Night Sisters and the Jedi to really even care about the Knights of Ren, and that's why they're still existing at this point, because apparently the Empire doesn't think they're really that much of a threat to them, so they're just going to kind of let them do their thing. So with all that being said, man, do you have any input on Knights of Ren, or where your enjoyment is, and what you felt about them in a sequel trilogy and your wants for the future of the Knights of Ren?
Yeah, I mean, I liked them. First shout out for everybody, make sure to check out Chris's review. He always reviews these comics and things like, funny thing is you say all this, and I actually had listened to your video earlier just to like catch up on this. So it was perfect timing. But yeah, I think it's really interesting, and it gives now that we know it's not just an organization like post episode 6 or something, that they could be around for however long, because it's like like you said, it's like could be like a lineage type thing, like passing down over the years and years and years and years. So, this could go back however far, and it would be a good, like, little connected tissue for other projects. Maybe we get it in the Tales of the Jedi show that's coming out. Maybe we get something touching on that. Things like there are plenty of opportunities for it to connect. I mean, heck, who knows? Like, say if we get another season of Kenobi, maybe they interact with him at some point. Like, you have plenty of different options to work with them, to mess around in the canon and still keep things pretty cohesive. I would say, like, heck, even like, do we have like In terms of like the comics and things, I'm not sure exactly, but do we have like has Luke interacted with them yet? Because
Oh
maybe
yeah.
maybe. Oh, okay. I was gonna say maybe we have Luke interacting with them
Oh
at some
man.
point. Like,
That is one of the best parts in the recent Star Wars comics, in my opinion, for the sequel trilogy, is Charles Soule's run of the Knights of Ren comics. Say what you will, there's a little bit of ambiguity with like, hey,
well,
you know,
okay. I was gonna just throw in there real quick. So like, okay. So my question, I guess, was more geared toward, was Luke first introduced to the Knights of Ren after Episode 6, or is
yep.
there opportunity for him to? Oh, okay, okay, never mind. I was going to say, or is there opportunity maybe for him to get introduced during the original trilogy, even?
I mean, I'd have to go back and check honestly, but I think he
Mhm.
met them in issue 3 of Knights
Oh,
of
okay.
Ren, Rise of Kylo Ren. It's him and Laura Santeca, and Ben Solo's with
Yep.
them, and they go to a High Republic outpost, and they're there. And there's like a classic panel that you could probably Google. It's like Luke is like basically saying that they wield the Force like a hammer. Like they have no
Yep. Oh, yep.
precision. They don't have
Yep.
any kind of technique. They don't have proper training. But it was neat
Interesting.
because in the actual this issue of Crimson Reign #4, you actually see Ren, who's the leader of all of them, of course. He's like he explains the Force as like the shadow. They all call it the shadow,
Yep.
and it's because he's able to like lead them to use it at the same time, and they use the dark side of the Force because he actually Ren commands the knights to channel their anger at that part, and then they use their anger to make the sea of lava
Interesting.
part to open up the door. And it was pretty badass because then at one point Vader's actually like almost like the scene out of Last Jedi where you see Kylo and Rey fighting over the saber with the Force. There's a similar thing that's happening with Vader, like force gripping the lightsaber, the force gripping the key, as the Knights of Ren are force gripping it, and then they start shooting at him, and then at that point he lets go, and they take the key, and then they go off
Interesting.
on their speeder bikes.
Well, the more you describe them, the more I think there's one character, one Jedi character, I think that would be perfect to interact. Actually, two. Man, we should get, here's our pitch to Star Wars, if they're listening. Man, we should get a Count Dooku and young Qui-Gon meeting the Knights of Ren, like back then. I think that would be like so good, like before Phantom Menace, before Dooku left the
Oh
Jedi, like,
man,
just something like that, because Dooku, of course, goes to the dark side. Qui-Gon is always kind of skirting the rules, so like I think they would be a perfect uh, pair to meet up with the Knights of Ren for just whatever, for whatever interaction. I think that would be a great story, and then you could continue to incorporate them throughout your stories.
yeah. So there you go. That's Crimson Reign issue #4. So we're gonna get into our main topic here, and well, the Star Wars Celebration is happening from May 26th through the 30th, I believe. So that Thursday through that Sunday, Memorial Day weekend here in the States, you can expect a hell of a lot of Star Wars news. And well, one of the biggest stories that you'll probably hear about and maybe even see some content about, at least I hope I get to see it. Hopefully, we get a live stream for everybody at home. Is here we go. We have Tales of the Jedi. And I'm going to read right from the source. This is the panel that was put up with the description. So, Tales of the Jedi panel on Saturday from 2:30 p.m. 3:30 p.m. That's Pacific Coast time, live on the Celebration stage, streamed to the Galaxy and Twin Sun stages, introducing Tales of the Jedi animated anthology shorts, hosted by Amy Radcliffe with special guest Dave Filoni. So, Ben, what was your first reaction to just like, because I'll tell you what mine was, but you go first.
Well, mine was, dang, Star Wars leaked a show, and I can't believe it. Like, we heard rumblings about this show. God, I feel like it was a month or 2 months ago, and there was nothing that really ever came out of it. And it was like, okay, maybe that was just like a what do you call it, like a placeholder potentially. And then we actually get it written on Star Wars's website, and I'm like, holy smokes, like this is unbelievable. Like I can't believe they wrote this on their own website. Like, man, whatever intern at Lucasfilm or Star Wars.com's media section, like you might want to proofread a little bit more before you post next time. But hey, it's better. It's great news for us fans. Super exciting and gets us hyped because, you know, when you say animated shorts, that makes me automatically think of visions, and it makes me automatically think of standalone episodes, which they could potentially, if let's say if they're not canon, who knows? They might not be, since the word tales is used. You know, tales could literally just be like extrapolated stories. So these could be like tall tales. So maybe we're just gonna get just kind of non-canon type of stories, and you know, you're Dave Filoni. It's like, okay, this is gonna actually be really good.
Okay, so I had a really cool idea, and I'll talk about my reaction first. Is I was just surfing the internet, I was at work, and just like, oh, cool, the panel list is live, go, 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 go. You know, I stopped everything and just cruised, and I'm looking, it's like, oh man, Lucasfilm has the craziest marketing, man. Just when you think it can't get weirder, they release a show's announcement in a little panel listing on the Star Wars Celebration website. And then the funny thing was, like, I took a screenshot, I immediately put it on Twitter, and it seems like not much longer after that, they like shut down that website and they took it down. It was
Yep.
like, well, sorry, but that's already gone now. Like, and then like around 3 o'clock, they ended up putting it back up, and then they put an actual article, as you see, that I posted on StarWars.com. But it just goes to show you like how much stuff is going to be at Star Wars Celebration. We'll go through the full list here in a few minutes, but like they feel like that comfortable to be like, we're not even gonna leave it up to surprise. We're gonna just let fans know that we're gonna announce something right now. I know we had the rumors a
Yep.
while back that they were making Tales of the Jedi, and I have a whole separate video about this, but for the gist of it, this is gonna be a recap for the most part. You have what's happening with this award or a gift. It was a gift, right? It was like a gift for the Lucasfilm employees, and somebody put it on Reddit, and it had like all the logos of like this year's Star Wars releases. Like it had Bad Batch, it had Tales of the Jedi, and people are like, wait, what the hell is Tales of the Jedi? Because that used to be an old Legends comic book run. So that
Mhm.
led people to speculate of like, oh, maybe there's actually something going on. And up until now, we didn't know if it was live action or animated. Um, but it gets me really excited that Dave Filoni's involved with this. And I think that automatically lends itself like more importance because everything that Dave Filoni has touched has created a backbone for a certain area of Star Wars, whether it be Clone Wars, whether it be Rebels, Resistance, Bad Batch. Like this guy has touched like every major animation. Okay, he hasn't touched Visions, but I think that there's a good possibility that Tales of the Jedi could bring us into the Old Republic. I think there could be I think what would be really cool, and again, this is going to be all speculation. I think you guys probably realize that already. So everything we're about to say is like we don't know any insider information. We're just shooting off the cuff kind of thing, shooting from the hip, whatever. I would love to see like Tales of the Jedi as a Luke Skywalker framed story or something. Like let's say you have like Luke Skywalker's Academy and he has a young Ben Solo there, it's all animated, and maybe he's like breaking up open those old Jedi text books, and like each episode is basically like him recounting like, and they'll have like a beginning of the episode is him with Ben and some other students, and the end of the episode is like him telling them a lesson, like closing the book and being like, well, what did we learn here today, that yada yada yada. But like in the middle of that episode could be like the tales of Yulik Kaldromo or Nagasato or like all these old Republic guys, because when I hear of tales, I'm thinking of something that's like taken way back in time. And we've been hearing rumblings that there's like Old Republic content being made, not just the video game that I play, which I love, but like actual like current like Disney stories being made. And well, the High Republic is being fleshed out very well, but what lies before that? And I think that Tales could be giving us those stories. So I'm looking at this at a literal sense of like they are looking back in time. What do you think about that one, Ben?
Yeah, I think we could get something. Okay, so if it's, I think it's going to be something along those lines where if it's not, okay, let's say whether it's the loop setup, overarching setup or not, I think we're going to get it where it's separate tales for each episode for each era of the Jedi. Like I could, I could 100% see like a Old Republic. Let's say there's who know? I mean, it didn't say how many episodes there are, so who knows? Let's just say 10 episodes. So say if there's an episode for Old Republic, episode for High Republic, episode for prequel trilogy, episode for original trilogy, because presumably, you could get something of Luke talking about Obi-Wan and Yoda from the original trilogy. You could him talking about the prequel era, like the height of the Jedi. Then he could talk about the High Republic era, and those things, and then he could dive into the Old Republic, and then that would still give you 6 episodes to play with. So then, it just comes down to what stories they tell. I feel like with Tales of the Jedi, if Luke is telling a story, I could 100% see. I just feel like no matter what, Ahsoka has to be involved in the show one way or another because it's Dave Filoni. So I feel like we'll get like a tale. Who knows? We might get a tale of her arc leading up to her moment, say, after episode 6 or something. Like, maybe we get something like that. Something like that about Ahsoka. Like, I feel like we're gonna get a good variety of items for these episodes because, I don't think they're gonna be like, we're not gonna have continuing episodes. I don't think, unless this is the only other thing I could think of in terms of formatting. Like I said, you have the Luke setup, you have the potential 1 episode each. But let's say there's 12 episodes. I could see 3 arcs, 1 Old Republic, High Republic prequel trilogy. Boom, boom, boom. 3 4-part episode arcs, and do it like that maybe.
Yeah, so we have Cardinal Peterson chiming in on the chat. He's saying, and canon anthology shorts would be very nice, especially ones that actually have large implications on the galaxy. And I was also thinking along Carnell's state of mind track here of they could really spin off a lot of different things off of like 1 episode, right? Like they could have that Old Republic episode, and from that point we have our spawn point of like, okay, here's where they planted their flag. We're going to extend stories out from here with comics, with books, with video games, things like that. As I was sitting here with you talking, I think they could actually frame this from the sequel trilogy, because if they framed it from the sequel trilogy with Rey teaching Finn or something, and she has those old Jedi texts, then they could go back into like even more time, because then it could go like more with the original trilogy and stuff like that, looking back at that time. But I mean, what kind of worries me is that if this is only like a short thing, like not short from like episode duration, but like short for like experimentation, like I hope it's not like Forces of Destiny was with that Star Wars, because they were only like 2.5 minute long, and there was only like maybe 10 to 15 of them, and that was it. Like, I hope this has a longer lifespan, because I think the potential for something like this could go on endlessly. Like, they could literally have, like, it's Tales of the Jedi. You know how many Jedi there actually are just from the Clone Wars itself? And then if you do the High Republic, it's like another 100 Jedi. And then they can make up their own Jedi along the way. Like, all throughout time, this series could go on forever. But what worries me is, like, specifically on this article I keep looking at, there's no mention of it being named a series. Just as animated anthology shorts. Like, what if this is only like this fall and there's only like 6 of them and it's over? Like, I'll be so unhappy.
Yeah,
because I feel like
it might.
like I wish it was just like there's no series, so it's like that doesn't bode well for longevity purposes, I guess. Just I look way into the way they're worded. Again, we don't know anything. I'm surprised at this point that Lucasfilm hasn't put up like an official article, at least giving us more than a sentence, because that's literally all we have.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Series wasn't used. They didn't even say in terms of like season 1 or anything like that. So yeah, I think the more I think about it, as you were saying that, like them using the word shorts, that means they're each going to be one-off episodes. Like I'll just scrap my entire arc idea for 3 arcs. That's completely actually thrown in the garbage chute. Just because the word shorts, it would be way different if this was called a series. Then we would be thinking of it in a totally different way. But them using the word shorts, that means it's going to be. I really think now that I think about it more, I think it is 100% going to be just all one-off episodes, like
Oh yeah.
completely just like Visions, basically. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it just makes me wonder what they'll do because, like you said, I really hope this isn't just some gimmick. I don't want to call Forces of Destiny a gimmick, but I don't want this to be some gimmick for their YouTube channel, be like 10 3-minute shorts or something. Like I want this to be at least at minimum like 10 or 15-minute episodes on Disney Plus. Like you have to give us something like that. Um,
Here's yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? With Dave Filoni, and we're looking at the previous history here, and this should help paint a picture for all of us. Um, Dave Filoni has never done anything for just one season, to my knowledge, right? Clone Wars, 7 seasons. Rebels, 4 seasons.
Avatar
Resistance
3.
even got 2 seasons. Bad Batch is up to at least 2 seasons. I think if it was his name not attached to this, I'd be very worried about the longevity. But Dave Filoni tends to have a lot wide scoped vision of what he's doing. And let's look over to Visions. Visions even is already probably going to get a season 2 from reports that we have seen. We're not sure, but there is a panel with Visions, and I would expect that to be announced there, maybe. And we'll go into that in a few minutes still. But I think with the way Visions is, if we can get like those 12 minutes to 22-minute long shorts for Tales of the Jedi, I'd be happy. And if they could just keep doing that every year, put out like maybe 8 to 10 episodes of those a year, they could literally just keep doing this forever. Let's have an episode about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in their early adventures. Let's have an episode about Ben Solo and Luke Skywalker in the earlier parts of their training. Let's have an episode about Stellan Geos and all those Elzar Man and all these other characters from the High Republic all go on an adventure. Like literally, I keep saying like
Well,
I like the anthology idea because we've seen how useful it was for the Clone Wars, and with the Clone Wars, that was a very small amount of time. They were still constricted, but when you have something that's a broad title, it's not Book of Boba Fett, it's not The Mandalorian, it's Tales of the Jedi. That is the one of the most type of broad kind of titles you can have to just you're not shoehorned into a certain era of time.
yeah, well, here's a question for you. Since you've read so many of the comics and books and everything, would you be happy if this is a potentially, say, ongoing show every year and they just straight adapt some of the comics that you've read, like some of the High Republic comics? Could you see them adapting, boom, like an issue of it as an episode, like a 20-minute episode or something?
Oh
Like,
man, yeah. Like
what do you
let's say
think?
that the Great Disaster or
Yep.
the fall of the Starlight Beacon or
Just
the
bounce
Battle
around
of Fallow.
comic to comic adapting
Oh my gosh,
comics.
that could be amazing.
The Rise of
Oh
Kylo
man.
Ren, you just said that. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess that's more of a Sith thing, but adapt some of like the Jedi focused comics, or heck, even though it's like literally like the book is tall tales, adapt some of the stories from the Legends of Luke Skywalker book, like things like that.
Oh.
Like there's so many options they could do with it. I mean, we have so many of these, like heck, now here's me like totally editing their format probably, but like why not make Tales of the Jedi, like do it every year, but it's like adapt the comics and books from the years prior. So like adapt, like say season 1 of this show, boom, adapt 10 issues of comics from 2021, and then
Yeah.
next year 2022. Just
Hmm.
so it gives the books their times to run, and then it's like boom, hey guys, we adapted this into an actual TV show.
Yeah, yeah. So I do want to shout out. We have a lot of new watchers out there, which is awesome. Thanks for everybody
Awesome.
for chiming in. DLE, I haven't seen you in here before, but thanks for the comments. They are saying there are a lot of sequel era slash THR slash the new shows that could use the extra context that these shorts could bring. I totally agree with that. And DLE is also saying, but I would die for an OG Tales of the Jedi. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about Tales of the Jedi, DLE, because me and Ben are not really caught up to speed on what that series was. I know it was one of the older ones just from looking at the
Yeah.
comic art. I know the thumbnail here is one of the comic covers I chose to put on here for our video thumbnail for this week. But I and here's the thing, I'm going to keep going back to this. is I want to know about Dave Filoni's involvement, and because we've seen two different approaches Dave Filoni has had, right? He's so far been very much ingrained in the live action stuff. And well, he should be, because that's probably the most lucrative thing for Lucasfilm right now, and that he's like their guy to make sure everything is correct with George's vision. So that's where most eyeballs are. That's where he's going to be most involved. We look at things like Star Wars Resistance, where he kind of came up with the concept of the show and kind of handed it off to the showrunners there. Same thing with Bad Batch. She probably had a lot to do with that first episode, I'm guessing, and then kind of handed it off to the writers and the supervising directors.
Yep.
And after that, so I don't know if this is going to be that same thing. And it doesn't really matter either way, because usually those shows, I've enjoyed all of those shows, and I still wish we got a Star Wars Resistance season 3. And I feel bad that that show just got cut off like that, but now that they're in the streaming part, we don't have to worry about stupid cable stuff like that getting in the way anymore. Disney Plus can just keep making seasons as long as people keep watching it, right? So, and another thing with Dave Filoni, what is the animation? I'm guessing the animation style is going to be consistent, because he's the one in charge. Like anything he's been involved with hasn't had like different episodes look differently, like Visions, for instance. So that's another thing where it adds credence to. I think this could be a longer form of storytelling. What I mean by that is having maybe 2 or 3 years of this or something like that. And I don't know if they're. I would really like the idea of us not knowing anything about these episodes. Like, for instance, like they'll show an episode and it'll be like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon's episode, and then the next week we have nothing to expect. And it's just your fan favorite characters could show up at any week, and you're just like, oh, I get to watch another episode about this Jedi over here doing this cool thing. I feel like there's so much cool like hype and potential that could be brought into this if we're talking about doing stories with characters that we already know. Again,
Yeah.
this could be something about all new characters, all in this old era of time only. So who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll know on May
Oh,
27th, I guess.
oh, for sure. Like the thing is, with it, you bring up a good
28th.
point. I, I feel like a good thing that this show could do, because you have to, with these type of shows, you have to introduce aspects to the shows that's going to be able to hit a wide audience and get people hooked into it and give the show a chance. And then when it gets to some episodes that maybe say off the beaten path or off the general audience view of things, that's when you can maybe hook them, because if those off the beaten path type episodes hit it, then that's when you get people going, ooh, let me look into this stuff. Let me look into this stuff, and then that's when they get down the rabbit hole. So like you said, maybe, keep the variety up. Like give us an Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon episode. Give us a young, whatever, like Anakin and Obi-Wan episode.
Oh,
But
yeah.
then dive into a High Republic episode, and then dive into a Rey and Finn episode post episode 9, then dive into whatever. Like, I feel like this show, you can use some of the main characters that we know and love as stepping off points for introducing a lot of these things that maybe say maybe a wider view, and say people who just have Disney Plus, for example, maybe those people will get more interested in the overall wider aspect. And then I was going to bring up a point as one of our chat members said, this could bring more credence to say the sequels, just because we got to remember, like, some of the reasons like the prequels got strengthened so much was through the Clone Wars. So maybe this show, if it adds a little bit more, like I think with the state of Star Wars and the way fans can be, like you can't dive in and just make this like a straight up like only sequel show. But what you can do is you can incorporate, as I said, like highlight some episodes. Say if there's 10 episodes, do 3 sequel related episodes, and that'll slowly build up the I guess lore of the sequels, but also it'll please those fans, but it'll also maybe give more context, which context is the big word I think that's needed for those movies. And it'll give more context to people to just to add more to those movies and make them more valuable than say where they are now. if they are not a big fan of those movies.
Yeah, DLE puts in, and I totally agree with DLE. The High Republic specifically needs love in other media really badly. Yeah, I mean, we've gotten a
Yep.
couple things in the Tales of the Galaxy's Edge, the interactive VR experience, which I have, and I really like that. But, we got comics, we got books. They did really good with the publishing. Eclipse, whenever that comes out, will be really good for it in the video game format. But, yeah, maybe this is the time. Maybe this is the place, other than this grammar radio show we keep hearing about, or rodeo, whatever it's called, which I fully expect to be announced, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes here. But yeah, why not? Why not the High Republic? And I think this is the type of show that people have been asking for. What I mean by that is a lot of us are tired of them going back to the old well of the original trilogy. We're tired of going back to the stormtroopers, to Darth Vader, to, dare I say, going back to Han, Leia, and Luke. Some people are just like, let's explore other things. We know we've seen things 100 years in the future and thousands of years in the past. And I think Lucasfilm, over the last couple of years, has been listening to the fans. And, well, the fruits of their labor will be shown off at Celebration this year. I strongly believe it. And they're going to show us, like, hey, if you don't like this story this week, we got you. Next week, we're going to have a story that we think you'll probably like more, just based on data. Or like, oh, if you
Yep.
don't like this, then you'll eventually like one of these other episodes, because they go to so many other places and times and characters that there's something for everybody to love. And there might be a season one or something like, I really like this episode. And I could see the people online saying, I like this one more because of this, this, and this. And I think it could be a really cool discussion point in a way that we haven't seen in a while, because all of our Star Wars storytelling, besides Visions, is just so much like straightforward. Like, okay, we're telling a story in a linear way, seeing progression of characters. But at least with this, it's like, okay, we get breaks between every one, hopefully, of what this is all gonna be.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I agree. Like, getting a diversity of eras and characters, that's important just to progress the franchise as a whole. I also do think, though, I will push back a little on some of that, just because I think when you're making a show, you have to really capture the wider audience. And like as of right now, I still feel like the characters between episodes 1 through 9 still are just that, like, to capture the audience, to get them into the show. So like I feel like they still have to be an integral, part of the show. And yeah, like maybe, like I said, maybe I think we're gonna have to have, like, say if the Tales of the Jedi is a 10 episode show, I think at least at least 3 out of 10 episodes have to be related to characters from 1 through 9, at least 3 or 4, just because that's just a general audience perspective. Like for me, I'm totally fine if the show is purely Old Republic, High Republic, or even just characters, say, in the prequel era, original trilogy era, Jedi that are just lost and we don't know about them, and they never interact. But I'd be fine with totally new stories. It's just my concern always comes from, like, if this doesn't hit with the general audience, like, the show's going to get canceled, like Thanos snapping his fingers. So that's always my concern when it comes to them, like, testing new shows. And that's a hard spot Star Wars is put in, because you have a potential of them, I guess I would say, canceling shows or moving things around because of this sort of stuff. Like, that's why I feel like, to me, the true test for Star Wars is, like, TV show storytelling. Like, I think this show has potential, but I think the big true test of it is going to be the Acolyte, because it's before all the eras that we know. Presumably, I mean, sure, Yoda's alive during that show, but I don't think we'll see him. So it just makes me, I think that's going to be the main test of what the general audience really feels, in terms of stepping outside of, our known, I guess, our comfort zone, I guess you would say.
Yeah, okay. So going off of that, I feel like if they blatantly use Tales of the Jedi, which, say what you will, I don't know anything about it, so I can't really say.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of Legends fans are very protective of a lot of things. Expanding universe fans interchangeably, legends, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I could only imagine the backlash if they use the exact title Tales of the Jedi. They don't do any Old Republic stuff. They don't do any of that because I feel like that's just like a slap to the face to the hardcore Legends expanded
Oh, they'll
EU
definitely
fans.
use Old Republic.
They will go
Oh,
berserk. So they could have called this anything else and it would have been fine, right? You can call it anything else, but the fact that they literally call it Tales of the Jedi, like I feel like that's a confirmation in its own right to be like, yeah, we're getting something from the Old Republic because, for what I know, is that this ended up like being the foundation for like Knights of the Republic and stuff like that in later to come. So that's why I'm getting excited. I was like, yeah, this is as close as we're getting to that.
yeah. Oh, 100%. Maybe, who knows, maybe the show's kind of goes in the realm of how you're saying like about Luke, or maybe who knows, maybe the show just opens with Yoda talking to younglings in the temple about like the old Republic era, and then the
Oh
entire show is
man,
that, and then we get to the final episode, and then it's Yoda closing up basically. We don't see him until the very end. It's just opening, closing. Cause see, boom, like there's your hook. You have a known character, Yoda or Luke, telling a story, and then you just cut away from it and you understand, okay, this is coming from Luke and Yoda's perspective, telling a story about these things. So I think it would almost leave people maybe engaged just a sliver more because, in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, Yoda's telling this story. Okay, so it's legit since
hmm
Yoda's telling the story, if that makes sense.
yeah. DLE, it's my favorite Legends comic ever. Has all the old school Sith with Eula Kaldroma and Exar Kun, and that gets me excited because I've known those names since I was like 12. I remember playing the original Star Wars: The Clone Wars video game,
Yep.
and you're going to Ren Var, and I think Exar Kun is like his like tomb is on. It's either him or Eula Kaldroma's tomb is there, and like the Sith machine operates, and like you're Anakin, and you're like getting close to the dark side because this machine's like pulling you in. It's like that's like the old school because I was like 10 or I mean I would have been like the early 2000s if not the late
Yeah.
90s that guy was created or something like that. Um but man, it's funny because I could sit here and talk about this all day and literally all we have is a single sentence about this darn show. And I
Oh,
just
I know.
I can't imagine like the excitement that's gonna happen when we all sit down on May 28th to this panel and it's gonna be lit, man, because they have a structure of three big rooms in Celebration. They have the Celebration stage, which is a theater that it's like an arena that holds like 7,000 something people. And then they have two satellite rooms for people that can't make it into that for this specific panel. So they can't be hyping this thing up the way they are if they have three stages reserved for that day. It's not going to be a Forces of Destiny thing.
Oh yeah,
Hopefully,
that's true. I
like,
I guess we did leave that I guess we kind of like over talked that detail when we were discussing it. That is true because if this was let's just say if this was Forces of Destiny and these are all 2-minute episodes and they're doing this multi-room stream and all this stuff and it's presumably online streaming as well, they do all this hype and it's a 2-minute Forces of Destiny show, they are going to get destroyed by the internet. So I don't think they would do that. I mean, Star Wars. Hey, say what you want. I've been critical of them, but I feel like they've gotten way more self-aware on things like this. Like you want to hype something up, and when you say Tales of the Jedi, like every person, like hardcore, medium, general audience, whatever, everyone knows the word Jedi. So when you say Tales of the Jedi, it'll perk up. Like you could go tell your parents, hey, mom and dad, a new Tales of the Jedi show is coming out, and they probably go, "Oh, that sounds interesting," because
hmm
the word Tales and Jedi are in it, and those are both easy words anybody knows. So it just makes you wonder what this could actually end up being,
yeah,
since they are streaming it to these multiple rooms and hyping it up. And
yeah.
yeah, it's just an interesting just choice of I guess I would say the way they're doing things.
Yeah, and there's been reports and rumblings that there's been a lot of motion capture as of late being done, I think over in Europe, in England. Now,
Yeah.
some people are saying, like Anthony Daniels, Oh yeah, so like Chris Forsyth, for instance, was saying Anthony Daniels had posted a month or two ago in a mocap suit and stated that he was shooting for an upcoming animated project. I think that had to do with the droid story that we still don't know anything about. That was announced like back in 2021, I think, at the Disney Plus Day thing or whatever the shareholders meeting. But I don't know. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the animation style. How crazy would it be, and it would be very expensive, if they modeled these episodes in the same light as the Old Republic video game trailers? What happens if they were getting people out there to England to put on the mocap shoots recently to do like semi live action motion capture for this very series? Like, because we've seen the very stylized Clone Wars, we've seen the semi animated inspired visions, or not visions, Resistance. So what happens if they're dipping their toes into like the Blizzard esque like super high definition kind of thing? That would be awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. Remember we just had that trailer a few months ago, the Old Republic one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that one was so good. Like, give us high quality, like really high quality like that. But for an entire show, I believe you, me, and Milton, we talked about it when that came out. We were like, dang, this has so much story and emotion in it. Like, this could be a series.
Oh my gosh,
So,
and yeah, I'm connecting the
yeah.
dots because what was unprecedented about the Old Republic trailer for Legacy of the Sith was that was the first trailer that ILM did in house. They didn't go to some
Oh,
external
that's true.
studio. They didn't go to some other studio like Blur Studios in the past that they did. They maybe were getting their feet wet. And what we were looking at with that trailer is the fact that they're able to tell such a good story. We kept going about this for like an hour, I think, that night. Like we talked about
Yeah.
that freaking 6 minute trailer for over an hour. Because we kept saying how good the storytelling was with such a small amount of time, but just the visuals and the fidelity at which you're able to have the characters' expressions and just the transitions and everything was so masterfully done that I can't help but think now that maybe that was like their test to be like, okay, we're gonna put this out for Old Republic. Now we're gonna do like 10 more of these things.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that. And then I believe I saw on Star Wars' YouTube channel for their weekly show, as well as on some of their social media, what Darth Malgus got added to Galaxy of Heroes,
Oh
I believe.
yeah.
So, like, what's up with that? So you have that trailer a few months ago, you have this Tales of the Jedi stuff. So it's just all signs are pointing in that direction for it to be something connecting to that era potentially. Like, as we mentioned earlier, we're highly speculating at this point, but a lot of the hints and different tidbits we're getting, it's just seeming like there's a good chance they do this. Who knows? Maybe this whole thing is Old Republic, and this is their testing ground for, say like the general audience people, because I've seen a lot of Star Wars pundits over the past few years say, hey, a live action Old Republic show would be awesome, but the issue with it is Lucasfilm scared because they don't know how the general audience will receive it. So maybe you start off the general audience like, hey, it's like your whole like crawl before you walk and all that
Hmm.
stuff. So like maybe just to get the general audience crawling a little bit, give them an animated show that's all Old Republic, see if it's really well received, and if it is, boom, come back next celebration and be like, hey guys, we have a Old Republic live action show in development. Boom, like there you go. Like I think that could be a projection as well.
Yeah. I mean, people have been waiting for a CGI type scale movie of this caliber, but hey, I
Yeah.
think people would certainly settle for a series worth of shorts, right? I mean, that one was about 6 minutes. They could
Yep.
extrapolate, maybe, they fluctuate. Maybe one's 10, maybe one's 7, maybe one's 5. Who knows? But
You know what would be awesome?
yeah.
Just for us fans of that specifically, like I know this is not going to happen by any stretch. Like if it does, I'll eat my words on it. But what if they just go and take that Old Republic trailer we got a few months ago, and just continue that on in one of the episodes, like for 20 minutes? Like I just to see what happens next, like just for everybody, playing into it. Like I think that would be really cool. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of possibilities they could do with this whole series. I really do. It's again, just like Visions, it's nice because we don't know anything about it. So it's going to be totally new overall for us. Like we can't just predict it. Like, going into Kenobi, we generally have an idea how things are going to go down. Like, you got Kenobi, somehow him and Vader are going to fight. Somehow they're going to resolve it and be back to the Empire and back to Tatooine at some point in the show. Like that's going to happen. Like that's not
Yeah.
much of a spoiler.
Yeah.
So like, this show and Visions, it just gives us a lot of unknown, which is really cool.
Oh man, I could see it now. Of if they do something with like Darth Malgus, let's say they show, let's say like they actually have, because I want to talk about like what that panel could be, right? It's literally an entire hour. An entire hour. It's not just a part of something. It's literally its own dedicated hour on Tales of the Jedi. That's a lot of time. So, what could happen there? Dave Filoni comes to the stage, talks about this and that, all his hype for the Force and how he's been working with Lucasfilm for years and years and years. And then he starts showing concept, and he's like, "We are connecting to the Old Republic," and he shows the face of Malgus, and then I just lose my mind because at that point, then it's like, then we know that the Old Republic is canon, and then I'm just gonna start going nuts, and then that night or whenever they have the Star Wars the Old Republic Community Cantina, that place is gonna be lit as hell when everybody knows
Yeah.
that the game they've been playing is officially part of the Star Wars canon, and we just get like wasted because it's like, yeah, I could
Well, see,
just see
that's
that party going off like with Darth
that's
Malgus.
that's the good part about the whole thing, about the potential for that. Like the Old Republic is such a good era for them to gold mine. Like, sure, don't get me wrong. I just said the whole speech about the general audience, but the good thing is, setting the general audience aside, um, the Old Republic has such a good fan base to it. Like, it's already a built-in good-sized fan base. Like, we mentioned before when you were talking about that game, like there's approximately like 1 million, little over a million, 1.1 or so million users, active users still on that game in total. So, that's a good backbone for a potential, leaping off point. And then, all you have to do, make it good enough, just like Mando. Like, say Mando season 2, we get all these characters introduced, like Bo-Katan and Ahsoka and Boba Fett again, but we get all these characters basically introduced, or even Thrawn, for example. Thrawn's a really good example. So Ahsoka, if you just watch the Ahsoka episode just totally blind, no Star Wars knowledge, you basically get, hey, she's a Jedi. She dealt with stuff with probably the former Jedi in the past, relating obviously to Anakin. And then she's looking for most likely an evil guy, Thrawn. So, like, that's from a general audience point of view. Like, that's good enough to hook people into that show. So as long as you do something like that with the Old Republic stuff, you make it deep enough. Like, us as an audience watching the Ahsoka episode, we're like, oh man, it's Ahsoka, it's Thrawn, it's this and that. But it pays off for us, but then it pays off for the general audience. Like, if you can pay it off for both your hardcore fans and your general audience members, that's where you get such a mega hit show like The Mandalorian. And that's where they have a major potential with the Old Republic, because you can hit these, old points basically, or past points about the Old Republic, and make everybody happy and everybody included. And I think, it's just a gold mine waiting to happen.
Yeah, there's so much potential with this show, man. And we literally haven't seen a single frame or anything about it, which is always fun when we're learning about new types of IP that Lucasfilm's creating, especially when you have creators like Dave Filoni, that are leading the charge on it. But that's just one tiny sliver of Star Wars Celebration. That's 1 hour out of the 4-day extravaganza. Right now, we're going to take a peek at what Lucasfilm has announced so far, because I have noticed some gaps in the time schedule for the main stage. So it looks like they're far from done with having everything finalized. There's no major gaming panel. and other things that I've noticed. So take that with what you will, because we'll revisit this for the week before. We're going to do a Star Wars Celebration preview podcast, getting you guys all up to speed on how that is. But for now, we're going to just look at what they have so far. So switching over, we're looking at day one, which is Thursday. And if you're looking at day one, we have 3 different stages. Okay, so this first one, it's at 11 o'clock. Let's spend some time talking about this one, Ben, because we know this is going to be the big one here, and that's Lucasfilm's Studio Showcase from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. This is Star Wars Celebration Returns, launching with a must-see showcase that will kick the weekend's festivities into hyperdrive. Lucasfilm's current crop of keywords, live action filmmakers, will be joined by special guests to discuss the many Star Wars adventures coming soon, including Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, and The Mandalorian. So there's 2 key things that I want to highlight here. First one being live action. So we're not going to hear a peep from Tales of the Jedi, which we just spent almost like 45 minutes talking about. We're not going to hear a word about that. We're not going to hear a word about that until 3 days into convention. So there's going to be stuff to look forward to all weekend long. But and another thing is including, right? When you put the word including Obi-Wan and or The Mandalorian, that means to me, subtext is there's going to be more than just those 3 things we're talking about. There's going to be more than just series. There's going to be movies involved. And I strongly believe we're going to get an update on Rogue Squadron. What do you think, Ben?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think, when you just say Obi-Wan Andor and The Mandalorian, like, that's just, like, basically, that's just mailing it in. Like, that's like your easy layups, basically, in basketball terms. It's just your easy, uncontested layups. Like, you'll get people interested. And then once you get them interested, because they'll be like, oh, maybe we'll get a Kenobi Ewan talking. Maybe we'll get a Mando season 3 trailer. Maybe we'll get Andor trailer. And then it's like, boom. Also, guys, we have this surprise show for you. Blah 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 blah. So I 100% think we're going to be getting some surprises. I've been consistently saying it too. Like my thing with Star Wars is I want to be surprised. Like, give us a surprise show. Like this Tales of the Jedi thing. It's great. It's a good surprise. Now we need another surprise. Like we don't only need one surprise. We need multiple surprises. So like I think there's like you said, there's a potential for the whole Grammar Rodeo thing to potentially pop up. Like it should pop up.
I expect. Let's talk about that real quick. Grammar Radio. I expect the cast to walk out on that stage, man. I don't know about you, because that thing is supposedly filming within weeks, within a week or 2. Like, they have to have their full cast. And if it's filming in California, those people are probably already there to begin with in that area. So what will it take for them to just like go from the trailers to like Anaheim for a day? You know what I mean? And Jon Favreau is supposedly in charge, so he's already there. He's going to talk about it. They're going to bring the cast on board. It's going to be a huge, huge thing for day one. I feel like that's going to be the big talking point, as much as Obi-Wan Kenobi, because we can't let that overshadow the fact that we're getting 2 episodes of a freaking Star Wars series during a Star Wars Celebration. That's never happened in the history of Celebration. We've never had anything like released the day of Celebration that's been anticipated anything like this before. So with Grammar Radio, I fully expect them to bring the cast on. This is the Stranger Things of Star Wars, The High Republic. And we're going to bring these people on. Oh, we've been working on this scripts for 3 years and, all the whole cool spiel. And they're not going to show us anything to film because they haven't filmed. But I fully expect to see like maybe concept art of like the characters in their costumes, maybe behind the scenes, like in the creature shops, like they've done with the Andor series. Like, oh, we've developed like 500 new aliens for this series. It's never been done before. Something crazy like that.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think I could 100% see them coming out on stage, having a big chat, giving us like a kind of look at it. Also, I could see maybe here's another thing. Forget like that. Like it'll be awesome if they all come out on stage. Maybe instead of that, what if we get a say if you have, I don't know, Kathy come out and talk, or like whoever the host is hosting, like say, hey guys, we're done with Mando and Kenobi and Andor. Let's check out on location. Let's call into
Mm-hmm.
Grammar Radio, and and
Oh.
then you have them on set, like shooting
Oh.
somewhere, like that type of thing. Because I feel like where do we see that for? Was that I think that might have been for the Snyder Cut. They had something like that. They've had different things like that over the years for different. Obviously Snyder Cut's Warner Brothers, but you get what I'm saying. Like you've seen different things like that over the years where they, heck, they did it for Indiana Jones for Nick Mangold. I believe it was Nick or James Mangold, my bad. They've shown like things from different conventions and things where the directors are and the people are on set, and they're like, oh, sorry, we can't make it because we're shooting this show or movie. So maybe we get something like that. Just hey, a chat from whoever the director is, whoever the lead is, be like, hey guys, we're out here on set shooting, blah 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 blah, coming in, whatever year, whatever month, year, etc. Like maybe something like that. If they're not there, maybe we'll get a like a live look in
Yeah.
or a call in from the location.
Yeah, they could show us like, oh, this is the set we're working on. It's gonna have a big battle sequence here. Cool things like that. Um,
Yep.
so that's gonna be a big one. Rogue Squadron. What do you think could happen with Rogue Squadron? You think Patty Jenkins might walk on stage and ensure the fans that it's still happening?
I like even before CinemaCon and just people saying weird stuff about that. Like, so we had CinemaCon this past week, and there was just weird stuff when it comes to that movie, just because like it wasn't talked about like as an upcoming movie at CinemaCon, but then they added it to Disney's press release for 2023. So it's like, wait, what's going on? Like CinemaCon isn't for the fans, it's for the movie theaters. Like,
Yep.
they're telling the movie theaters, hey, expect this movie to be in theaters. So it makes me wonder, why would you not put it to your movie theaters? But then when, they send the press release out to the movie theaters and people afterwards, why would you just add it in there? So that's my only, like, I guess, little concerned red flag, because it's like, wait, what's going on here? But then again, who knows? Maybe they just pulled it because they're saving it for Celebration. Like there's a really good
Mm-hmm.
chance they just save it for Celebration, have Patty Jenkins walk out, woo guys, movies coming out, blah 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 blah, et cetera, et cetera. Like because as of right now, Star Wars hasn't, or not Star Wars, Disney hasn't moved any movies into that time slot. So it's still presumably gonna be Rogue Squadron. It just makes you wonder
Yeah.
what's actually going on. And like my only concern is I just don't want this. Like I have hope this is going to happen. Like I think if I had to put a percentage on it, I'm still in like probably 70% range it's going to happen. But like my only concern is I don't want them to overflood us with stuff. So say you have the Grammar Radio Show. You have all these other things. Boom, show us a Kenobi thing. Or obviously, I guess Kenobi will be out by then. Show us Andor. Show us Mando. Show us all these things. Boom, 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 boom. Like all, it's like the whole magician. Like, look at this stuff over here, while we slowly push Rogue Squadron to the pile of like movies and things we've announced that we're just gonna
Oh
let fade
yeah.
away, like the Rian Johnson trilogy. Remember, there was literally an article on StarWars.com talking about the Rian Johnson trilogy and him working on something like that. And then that slowly, I've always joked around, it's the Rian Johnson trilogy island of discontinued Star Wars projects. And there's a good chance like Rogue Squadron could be getting on that boat
Oh
and slowly
no.
rowing toward it. And like that's my concern. If now mark my words here though, I 100% say if Rogue Squadron isn't brought up at Celebration, it's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, they got to come out swinging, right? We haven't had Celebration in
Have to.
3 years. Uh,
Yep.
we haven't had it in 3 years. There's got to be a reason for it not to happen at this point. They've had that much time, or not 3 years. It was announced what, like a year and a half ago or something. Um,
It was at the Disney panel in November, the investors
yeah,
call. It would have been November of 2020.
yeah, okay, sounds about right.
I
Yeah.
believe. I think it was November 2020.
But here's the thing, like Disney's Lucasfilm's schedule, they're supposed to have Avatar come out this year, then a Star Wars movie, then Avatar again the next year, then a Star Wars movie. I think that's like it's gonna alternate. Like every December, it's gonna be either Avatar, or Star Wars for like the next 6, 7 years, something crazy like that. So, I mean, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I think it'd be cool. I don't know if Taika Waititi is working on anything right now. Right, well besides Thor, but that's all done shooting, I would imagine, because it's coming out in July. So I think we
Yeah.
might be able to see Taika walk on a stage, especially since he's already been involved with Star Wars as with Mandalorian. Maybe he's there, he says a few words, then he hands the mic over to Kevin Feige, and Kevin Feige walks on the
Yeah.
stage, and it's like the first time we see him at a celebration. That'd be pretty neat. Like I just feel like it's been so long since they've had celebration, and the fact of the matter is Lucasfilm has been so tight-lipped. They're always tight-lipped, but especially in the last like year or so, because I feel like they've just been hoarding up like all the big news bits for this 4-day event. I feel like they've been hoarding them up, and if I feel like they just have to give us something now. You know, we've waited this long.
Well, here's the thing. You bring that up, and it got me thinking. It makes me wonder. So, say you have the Taika Waititi movie, you have the Kevin Feige thing. Um, Fun fact, man, I would love. Side note, I would love to be part of just a fly on the wall. Kevin Feige and the Marvel leadership is going on like a couple week retreat to brainstorm the next 10 years of Marvel. Like that's pretty awesome. I just read that a little bit ago, by the way.
Yep.
Um, like so it's cool that see like him having him involved with Star Wars at some capacity eventually is going to be incredible. Just because it's like, man, that guy knows how to plan stuff. So you have Feige, you have Taika Waititi, you have potentially Patty Jenkins. Like my thing that I wonder is, are they potentially? Because see, I've always said it for the longest time. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars series, etc. Like, but I've always said like Star Wars to me is a movie property. Like it's an event.
Okay.
And like like say an Obi-Wan movie. An Obi-Wan movie would have easily made $1 billion, I think. So like, it's an event. And to me, I think they're honestly saving. If Rogue Squadron happens, but it's not 2023, say if it's pushed back further, and maybe they shuffle the deck and Taika Waititi's movie comes first, I think there's a chance they're saving the next theatrical movie for something really big, just because, it'll be like, hey, Star Wars hasn't been out in a few years. Like, it'll be almost like The Force Awakens again. Not Force Awakens again, because, that was huge. But, it'll be like Star Wars is back in theaters. Like, boom, we've had 3, 4, 5 years off of Star Wars. Like, now let's get back into theaters again. So it makes me wonder if Rogue Squadron is a big enough pull for that potentially. Like, is there a chance they shuffle the deck and have Taika Waititi say if his movie's about something? I mean, I don't even know, but like just something other than just say X-wing pilots and stuff. Like obviously there'll be more depth to the movie than just, hey, they're X-wing pilots, but it just makes you wonder, are they shuffling around maybe some of the movies because they want their basically introductory movie back into things again to be a big bang like Force Awakens was?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought to think about, right? And you can compare, let's say, Rogue Squadron to the Star Wars
I mean, what if they
Squadron's
introduce
video
us
game.
into the Old Republic? Like, boom, what if they say, hey, we're not going past episode 9. Boom, we're going right into the Old Republic for something. Like, I don't know, just something, but continue.
Well, to remark on that, first of all, Chris Forsyth has some funny commentary going on. First off, he's saying Rogue Squadron panel is called Highway to the Danger Zone. He's saying the whole thing comes out in N64 graphics. Oh man. But okay,
Continue.
yeah, that see, I look at the chat, then I lose my train of thought when I laugh at stuff like that. But um oh man, I literally just
Oh,
lost
you were
my
saying
thought.
about, okay, so like we were saying how the next movie that's going to come out is going to have to have a big punch to it, like Force
Oh,
Awakens,
yes.
basically.
And with a Rogue Squadron movie, I don't think you're gonna get that because we've seen what happened with the Star Wars Squadrons video game. Yeah, it's a video game versus a movie, but it's a little bit more niche, right? Not everybody loves the dogfighting in Star Wars. Some people rather prefer the lightsabers. Or if you get a movie like The Force Awakens, it has all of it. It's got all the formula to create $1 billion movie. And well, you see a film like Solo doesn't really have any lightsabers. I mean, it has some space stuff, but so we've seen the patterns in the past. We know what most people like and enjoy. But I mean, I for one, of course, I'm going to be in that line the first showing of that day, watching Rogue Squadron if it ever
Oh
happens.
yeah.
But everybody else, it'd be tough. Whereas if you have a movie like that, we've seen that concept art when they announced Taika Waititi's film. You look at that pyramid structure thing; it's very reminiscent of the cover for Dawn of the Jedi, which is literally exactly as it sounds. Like it's the basically beginnings of the Jedi Order to a certain degree. So I would say that would draw a lot more people. Like you just go up to the person like at work who's a casual fan and be like, "Hey, did you know that there's a movie where they're gonna be talking about how the Sith formed and how the Jedi began?" Like versus, oh, it's another movie with X-wings. Like I feel like most people would probably want to see the Jedi one more.
Oh yeah, like that's. I'm definitely, even though I'm a hardcore fan and everything, I'm definitely one of those people. To me, Star Wars is like the Force, like in my opinion. So I think, yeah, I think for a general audience perspective, like I always use a litmus test. Like my grandma, she's a Star Wars fan. She keeps up with it. She watches all the episodes when they come out every week the same day, like Wednesdays, Mando Day, like all that stuff. Um, and even over the years, like she's always been more inclined, I feel like, to talk about the Jedi and Sith, and like even my younger cousin who's a Star Wars fan, like he talks about Force users more. I feel like, and I think it's just more of a draw, and they've already had kind of their litmus test for that. Like Rogue One was a big hit, but I feel like that was also a big hit because of its implications and what it was connected to. Then you have Solo, who didn't, say what you want, all of us, a lot of us here loved that movie, but say what you want about it, but it flopped at the box office. It was bad. So that could be the litmus test going, oh man, do we force using type movie, especially when we're taking this time off? Like I said, even though it's a 3 or 4 year
Hey
break,
Ben, your mic's a little bit messed up again. I will transition out of this one. So that's just one aspect. Okay, so we're on the first panel, and man, oh man, we have a lot to talk about. This is when I first see this panel schedule. I was like going through overload. I was like, how am I gonna do all this at once? And we're still talking about the first panel. So that's just talking about the films, man. Films. Paul Feig. I think you're back now.
I think I'm back.
You're good. So Kevin Feige,
Okay.
you got Kevin Feige, you got Rogue Squadron, you got Taika Waititi. I think they'll talk briefly about those three films, probably longer about Rogue Squadron. Then we have the other things going on. Cassian Andor, it's confirmed, right? Now at this moment we don't have a separate Cassian Andor panel. Like I said, there's a lot of space on that schedule in the celebration stage on that Thursday and I believe that Friday. So I'm not putting it out of the question. Now we might also have a separate panel for Cassian Andor. But regardless of the fact, since that show is coming out this year, I think we'll get a trailer for it. At least just it's going to be a teaser trailer. They'll have that ready because they've been filming that thing for so long. We'll have Diego Luna hopefully on stage chatting about it, all that good stuff. And then we'll get into The Mandalorian, and we're going to see, hopefully, the Ahsoka stuff. I don't know, because that's tough, because then they have the Mando Plus panel on Saturday, and that's like the headliner on Saturday. So that's the hard part. It's like, well, they've never done this before with Star Wars Celebration. They've never had like the panel to introduce the convention. They haven't had anything like that. So we don't know how much of each show we're going to get, but I do want to let you guys know it's an hour-and-a-half panel. And that is a half hour longer than every other panel. Every panel at Celebration is just about an hour tops, but this one's well over an hour. So it's cool to think about how they're going to divvy this up to make it paced good enough where people stay excited the whole time through, right? This isn't just a Disney D23 panel where it's like, hey, there's 10 minutes of Star Wars that were tacked in the middle somewhere. This is all Star Wars live action.
Well, see, that's the interesting thing about the whole setup. It's all Star Wars live action, and then you have a potential of the multiple trailers. Of course, you have the potential of all the different new shows. Ahsoka, I think, is filming right now, So like maybe we get an update on that. Maybe we don't like get a like if we do it. I feel like it'll be very brief, or maybe it's just like a poster shot of Rosario and her standing in the woods or
Here's
something.
here's what I want real quick to interject, Ben. When they
Yep.
start talking about Ahsoka, I want the lights to turn. I want the lights to turn off, or you don't even need to turn off lights. That'd be a bad idea. They're not going to show anything on the screen. Instead, they're gonna have a figure walking out in a crisp white uniform with those gold pauldrons
Yep.
and that blue skin and those red eyes, and we're gonna get our confirmation of Grand Admiral Thrawn in full costume and in full character. We're gonna have whoever's playing him walk up to the mic and say a few lines with Thrawn, and it's gonna blow the freaking roof off the place. Because they've done that before with Rogue One and director Krennic. They've
Yep.
had him come out in full costume, full character, and walk through the audience with Death Troopers, and it was like the coolest thing ever. I remember
Well, look.
watching it on the live stream.
I mean, look, they did it with Palpatine. Ian McDermott came out on stage surprisingly, and that just blew everyone out of the water. So like, that was wild. So like, give us Thrawn. Like we had all these rumors and rumblings and different things about Thrawn, and he is and who he isn't, and all these different things back and forth about Thrawn, especially lately. And it just makes you wonder: are all of these things rumbling around just because? Maybe they're gonna give us the Thrawn, hey, this is who he is at Celebration. Don't be secretive. Like we know he's coming in the show, so why not just show it?
Yeah.
Give us the actor. At least give us the name. Give us the
Yeah.
name of exactly who it is,
Yeah.
so we can just
Yeah.
kind of picture it. Like
I
that's
think the
all we got.
because look at it up to this point, right? We had all like almost the whole cast is basically announced unofficially. Like we know who's playing Sabine, we know who's playing Ezra.
Yep.
We had an idea up until a while ago who was playing Thrawn, but it doesn't seem like that might be happening anymore. So
Yep.
like, why don't they just show pictures of the cast on the big screen? And for Ezra, we have him, and we have this character, and we have this character. Because they didn't do that for The Mandalorian, but they also, for season 2, we knew like everybody, but they also didn't have a celebration that year to do anything. But hey, this is your year to step out in front of it. So yeah, we're gonna see Ahsoka. We're gonna see Mandalorian stuff, of course, but I don't know how much they're gonna hold for the actual panel. So I have no idea where that's gonna go.
Well, the Mando stuff is just weird because it makes you wonder. Like initially it was supposed to come out this year, and it makes me wonder: is it going to be like maybe technically this year, but it's going to be like December 31st at like midnight or something for New
Yeah.
Year's Eve, like something like that? Because if you just add things up, the numbers don't add up unless because you have Kenobi going on for 6 weeks. Let's just say 6 weeks in total. I guess technically 5, but whatever. It's like 5-6 weeks for Kenobi, 12 weeks for Andor. Because I don't think they're going to double up the Andor premiere just because I feel like they're only doing this for Kenobi because Celebration's right here. So Andor's 3 solid months. And then Mando is, 8 episodes. So it's just like, where does Mando fall? And then, a while back, you have John Carlos Esposito saying some weird stuff that Mando's maybe this summer. But I think, I think he just meant a trailer's coming this summer. So it just makes you wonder, like, say if a trailer drops over the summer, say after Kenobi ends, boom, we get a trailer at the end of June, middle of June, end of June. It's like maybe we get a Mando trailer in June or July, and then it's a question of like where it would fall. What, maybe January, February, like.
Yeah, well, we got Aaron Daly chiming in on the chat. She's saying they wrapped up filming for Mando season 3, so we might get a teaser, and that's very much. They could do that. They showed us Mandalorian season 1 footage, like 10 minutes of raw footage back at Celebration in Chicago in 2019 before it came out. So I know we're going to get footage of Mandalorian season 3, whether or not they'll show the mass public or they'll just keep it in the house like they did for us. I'll be sure to break it down for you guys on the podcast that I come back on or whatever like that. But that's the interesting thing here. So who knows? Sky's the limit. And the final thing we'll talk about for this panel at least is Obi-Wan Kenobi. What will they do? I mean, we know Ewan McGregor's there. He's confirmed he's going to be doing signings all weekend. He's never been to a Star Wars celebration, so I can't wait to see this guy's reaction when everybody gives him a standing ovation when he walks on that stage, because I can't imagine the power of that crowd when that guy walks on the stage. And if he's with Hayden Christensen as well, like, I'm gonna have a freaking. I'm not gonna have much of a voice come the end of Thursday. I'm gonna already
Hmm.
have no voice by the end of Thursday, man. I'll tell you that right now. I'll be coming back on the podcast the following week, and like I still can't talk. But I think that's the hard part too, because there is no official Obi-Wan Kenobi panel. As crazy as that might sound, the panel list right now does not have an Obi-Wan Kenobi screening or an actual panel. Um, I really think that'll be easily remedied by like that night they'll have like at an arena off site, like everybody come to this arena and let's watch it together or something. And they have them come out after the episode and they'll have like a off site thing. I feel like that is the best thing to do. But at least for this little short snippet, they'll probably like just talk, oh, tonight you guys will be able to watch this because when they go on there on Thursday, it comes out Friday night. So they can't talk too much about it because like you guys are gonna be watching like 2 episodes literally in hours from now. So
Yeah, see, that's the weird part about the whole thing is like the lack of Kenobi panel because you'd think they'd be headlining the celebration with it, just because it's such a big, big show. So it just makes you wonder what they have planned for it. Like you said, maybe they just do guest surprise guests. Like we know Ewan's there, so maybe Hayden shows up. Maybe whoever shows up. Maybe some of the Sith Inquisitors show up. And I feel like the way, see that I mean, this is too much of an ask, I think, for Star Wars because like sometimes Star Wars just can take themselves a little too seriously, in my opinion. Like I really think what they should do is if they have a Kenobi panel, they should come out and crack a joke about the look of the Sith Inquisitor just to get just to lighten the mood on it. Because I'd really think it just from like a PR standpoint. If you're Lucasfilm, come out, crack a joke, like I don't know, just say something. And that'll kind of I think lighten just in general, even for the internet everybody's tone on it because they'll be like, oh, okay, even Lucasfilm is in on it. Like we get it, and it would
no.
lighten them on it. But it'll never happen. It'll never happen. But I just think that would like just do something like that, lighten the mood of it. But yeah, if they do a surprise panel like that, like I just feel like they have to do a surprise panel. It's Star Wars Celebration. Like what do it's got to happen. I think.
It's like, come on, like Rupert Friend comes on, he arrives on the stage, he comes to the
Yep.
stage in full Inquisitor gear, and he says, make fun of my head now. I'm in front of you
Yep.
in reality, not behind a computer screen. And I'm like,
Yep.
or some joke like that. It's like, yeah, make fun of me now, like
Yeah.
people are like, oh, it
Just
looks
some corny
awesome,
joke. Yeah, make it some corny joke, some funny thing, and just have I don't know, have Ewan crack a joke about you know uh or even Hayden, have Hayden kind of reflect, kind of say the Grievous line of I thought you were taller than or when he says I thought your head was a little slimmer than it is now, Inquisitor, like just something like just make it light. But I mean, Star Wars, they would never do that, in my opinion. But if I was a PR person in Star Wars, I would be pounding the table saying, we have to do this because then I really think if, self-humor helps a lot of things. Like, people have seen it just overall. Like, if you look at culture, like self-humor, when people just poke fun of themselves, that's when everybody lightens up. They're like, okay, this guy isn't too serious. Or like, this girl isn't too serious. Like, if Star Wars would just do that, like I said, have Rupert Friend come out, crack a joke about his head, and or like have him come out and go, okay, guys, let's get all the laughs about my head out of the way right here, right now, in front of the world, and then move on. Like, and just something like that. I think it'd be so much fun. That's like a less than like the chances of that happening are like we have a better chance of them reshooting the original trilogy than that happening. But I really don't think that would ever happen. But if it would, this would be the perfect time to do it with all the buzz. Like, because these type of panels, they bring so much like fun, I think, to the fans. Like, look, one of the biggest panels, in my opinion, that I remember was Mark Hamill's panels have been
oh yeah,
fire every year. Like his panels, it's because I think that's why fans connect with him so much, is like his personality and stuff. Like just do that for the Kenobi show. Bring out all these people and just let him talk. Like have a good time with it. Like, you don't got to be so buttoned up. Like just have a good time.
That's the thing, right? It'll be cool. It'll be nice for Star Wars to not be as serious all the time. Like, hey, we're gonna
Yeah.
come out here and joke a little bit. Like, we're having a good time. Like, we've been away. The stupid pandemic has gotten in our way. Like, for 2 years now, we should have had this thing. Let's go all
Yeah.
out. Let's have a good time.
Oh, 100%. Like that's one of the best things I think. Like you said, the pandemic, it was, yeah, there was so many bad things with it and whatnot. Like so many things were canceled. There were so many ups and downs with it. I mean, like heck, even in like the NFL world. So last year was the first time the NFL draft was back, of course, in person because of the pandemic, a couple years ago. So like, normally fans are always booing the commissioner when he comes out on stage because everybody hates the commissioner in the NFL, et cetera. But then, he lightens the mood by, he like basically says, hey, before the picks, let's crank up Sweet Caroline. And the whole audience, everybody loves it. And everybody's hand in hand singing Sweet Caroline before the NFL draft starts on live TV. And, it was such a good time. And the fans had an amazing time with that because the commissioner, who's normally always buttoned up, always stone cold and business like, he's like, hey, turn it up. Let's rock it out for a minute. So like, if we could just get some of that with Star Wars, like, hey, just lighten up the mood a little. Like, this is our first time back from a pandemic. Let's just have a good time with it.
Yeah. Oh man. So I just to wrap up the first panel that we also talked about for about 30 minutes now. But I feel like this panel is going to be the big one. We talk about Tales of the Jedi for 45 minutes, but we're going to get like a lot of information in an hour and a half that's going to also bleed into the rest of the convention. But again, circling back, I like the fact that they are actually doing like a capture all like preview panel of like, hey, this is what you can expect for the rest of the weekend. Here's some teases. Go to those panels, you'll see more. I like how they're just hitting us with the big news right off the bat. This is Star Wars Celebration. We're back. It's been 3 years. We have a lot to announce this weekend. Here's just a quick little snippet, and then we're off to the festivities after that one. So we're moving on through the list here. At 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we have Attack of the Chords, the music of Episode 2 with David Collins. So David W. Collins, awesome guy. I actually ran into him at one of the 501st Bash. He actually recognized me. This is the guy that like does a lot of the Star Wars sound and everything.
Yep.
He recognized me and he was like, I was in my Luke Skywalker, A New Hope, like gold jacket, blaster, like Luke before he gets trained by Yoda, right? He's just that
Yep.
naive kid that thinks he can use a lightsaber, all that kind of things into his comics. He's like, hey, you reviewed Star Wars Resistance, don't you? I was like, yeah. He's like, you're Star Raptor. I was like, yeah, that's me. It's like, it was so weird. Like, here I was the one that was like, I'm going to introduce myself to him, and he already did the work for me. So I was like, okay, that was a really weird moment. But anyway, so he's like the master of the Star Wars music. This guy, he has a podcast where he breaks down like all the little details of all the Star Wars music, and he does it in a really easy to digest way for the people that aren't like specifically musically inclined. I have not been to one of these panels yet, and unfortunately, I probably won't be there again because at the same time, and this is why I need to clone myself because there's going to be too much to do. We have the Lucasfilm Publishing Stories from a Galaxy Far, Far Away. It's from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Twin Sun Stage. They're going to have Disney Lucasfilm Press. They're going to have Del Rey, Dark Horse, all these different, me. I'm the canon guy. That's why I started the channel. I do a lot of that stuff on here. So you better believe I'm going to try my best to get into that panel. We also have Ian McDermott, an audience with the Emperor, from 1:30 to 2:30. Again, this is on Thursday. This is what's really cool about Celebration is they have a lot of these panels. You mentioned it, Ben, about Mark Hamill having a panel. Unfortunately, he did put out on Twitter he's not going to make it this year, which is really a shame because he's also a highlight for a lot of people. But I do like these panels where they're not announcing anything. They're just having a chat with one of the actors. And the actors are interacting with the fans. They're answering questions. They're doing like they're reciting lines from the
Oh,
movies, and it's always
I
so much
think
fun.
I think one of the best solo panels, I mean, he's done a few of them over the years now, is Warwick Davis. Like he's always been really good with his panels because he's funny as can be, and he's really likable, of course, because it's Wicket. Like what's not to like about him? So he's always been one of the highlights for me as well because he just has a really good like hosting personality. Like he's real funny. And his different like he's had a he had a solo talk before, like those are really good. Like, he's another really good one. And I feel like for the most part, in my opinion, most of the Star Wars actors, they could easily host their own, like say just solo panel, just talking to the fans, because they're all for the most part really interesting. And like to me, the good thing is with these different panels, I think that like just gives me hope about them is so you have like say Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. Like of course Ewan's there. Let's presume say Hayden ends up coming. You know, I love. I mean, we saw it for the last celebration. The fan reaction when Hayden and Ewan and all them like when Hayden came out. It's great seeing how excited the fans got over seeing Hayden, and like that's got to be so nice for him. Like just on a psyche level, like man, it's so nice these fans are actually embracing me now. So like it's great, because these celebrations give the chance, of course, the fans get to interact with the actors, but the actors like, man, I'm actually seeing like my work pay off.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with Warwick Davis. We're gonna start there because Chris brings up in the chat a very good point. We haven't gotten an actual announcement about Warwick David being at Star Wars Celebration somehow. So
Which is crazy.
yeah, that's you're right. That's crazy. It's like what the heck? Because at Star Wars Chicago, he was like the main host. He was going around. He was being awesome. So I was like, huh, that is very weird. Because he'd be doing all the big panels. I remember seeing he even has like a tiny desk. He's got the Segway that
Yeah.
Chris is talking about rolling around the stage. He has great energy. He works the crowd in between the guests, like in between the big panels. He's always like hyping people up. Like we were in that arena. I'll never forget this. We were like in that arena in Chicago, and he was like playing games with the crowd, like throwing stuff out in the audience. I think it was with him, and then the DJ was playing music, and we were like partying basically in the audience. They started playing like the Weird Al Yankovic song of like the
Yep.
original Phantom Menace song, and it was just like "Bye Miss American Pie," but like the Star Wars version of that or
Mhm.
whatever. And it was just like a party he was thrown in that place. So yeah, I'll be sad too if he doesn't show up. But yeah, those
Oh yeah.
panels are a lot of fun with these
So
actors.
so now nowhere in the article though it doesn't mention who's the host or the main host at all.
They have a couple stage shows like David W. Collins, Amy Ratcliffe. Maybe they're just holding
Okay.
out. Maybe they're just holding out because there hasn't
Interesting.
been like a huge person doing any of the stages yet. Moving
Hmm.
on though, we do have some Star Wars collectibles on Thursday. This one I'm looking forward to. Um, the High Republic for Light and Life. I mean, we have every author there. We have the High Republic show. Christina Ariel is going to be there. We're going to get some Phase 2 Quest of the Jedi reveals. So, oh yeah, I'm very much looking to that. And this is where it rolls into Friday, May 27th. And this is where I see the first gap. So every day at 11 o'clock a.m. they're going to have the big panel, and that's what you have to do, like the panel lotteries. They have a whole panel lottery system, but the first panel that opens up on Friday that they have listed is starts at 12:30. So that leads me to believe that there's a big one that they haven't announced yet, and if I were to take a guess, it'd probably be a gaming one. Maybe talk about the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order and like the 6 or 7 games that are currently in development at Lucasfilm, because they could easily do an entire panel just so like having 10 minutes talking about each game that's been in development, because we haven't heard a lot about any of them at this point. But I'm also going to try to go to this one, Ben, because this one is called The Summer of Lego Star Wars. And if you guys have been watching
Hey,
this
there we
show over the
go.
last 3 weeks, I've been obsessed with Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. And in this very thing, they say, join the Lego group in Lucasfilm as we celebrate the summer of Lego Star Wars. Panelists from across consumer products, games, and animation will highlight all the ways fans can enjoy and interact with Star Wars from the unique Lego lens. Dive into the expansive galaxy within the newly released LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga video game. Discover brand new construction sets that are sure to keep you busy this year, and learn about even more ways to get your LEGO Star Wars fix this summer. So we all love those Lego Star Wars animation things they've been doing on Disney Plus, right? We got the Halloween one, which is really cool with like the Star Wars What If with Star Wars Kylo Ren. But we also got way back when the holiday special, so can't put that out of the way either. So they're gonna probably show us maybe some new Lego special, some awesome new Lego kits that I love to look at that I never buy because I don't have space in this place for it.
Yep.
And maybe, just maybe, they'll give us, maybe they haven't announced this, there's no rumblings, but maybe they'll talk about, hey, there's new levels to play in Lego Skywalker Saga. I know it's called the Skywalker Saga, but they probably want to capitalize on the Mandalorian. Why not throw a couple planets from the Mandalorian in there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just throw a couple planets, maybe let you play through season 1 or something like that. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh yeah, I think that'll be an interesting one. Like you said, who knows? Maybe we get a some type of a new Lego special. Hey, since they've had a holiday, a Halloween one, and then since it's under the Disney umbrella, it makes me think. I mean, I'm sure you remember years ago they had a Phineas and Ferb Star Wars special. It was an old cartoon on Disney XD, I believe. They had a Phineas and Ferb Star Wars special, and Phineas and Ferb. For anybody that hasn't seen the show, the gist of the show is like it's a pair of brothers, and like they always the show always starts out like, hey Ferb, what should we do today? Because like basically that show is these two kids like on a summer vacation because literally the theme song literally says like there's 104 days of summer vacation, blah 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 blah. So it makes you wonder, could we get like a Star Wars Lego summer special, like some type of, I don't know, the Lego characters going to nice planets, like maybe maybe something like that, maybe like a Star Wars summer vacation, like what the Empire does during the summertime or something. Like they leave the Death Star, like just something like that to lean into, because they've done Christmas, they've done Halloween. What? Now it's time for a summer special, like summer vacation.
And here we go. Like I feel like Lucasfilm is just backloading this year with like so much Star Wars content that we'd even realize that we were gonna get, that we might get, right? So can you imagine they got to fit that in somewhere on the schedule where there's nothing coming out between
first day of
Andor
summer, first day of summer,
Obi-Wan. Okay,
June
all right.
21st, maybe. Hey, let's do
All
that.
right.
Like I just think there's so many creative opportunities for Star Wars like that. Like it's such a big sandbox to play in. It's like just be creative with it, have fun.
Yep. Going back to Friday, we have Lucasfilm Publishing behind the page. So this is on the Twin Sun stage at 12:30. This has to do with all those really cool nonfiction, novelty, behind-the-scenes books that you would get from something like DK Insight Editions, Abrams. I have a lot of those books. I really do enjoy just like getting the behind-the-scenes look and different things. Now, this is the other big panel that's happening on Friday, and it's also being streamed on another stage, so this is a biggie. And that is the Star Wars Attack of the Clones 20th Anniversary Celebration Panel. It's been confirmed. We're getting it. We don't know who's actually on the panel. There is a big description that doesn't even acknowledge who's going to be there. But they do say that it is a can't-miss commemoration of the 2002 epic. I think what people have been praying for is for Natalie Portman to show up for this panel. I know it's a lot to ask for. Because I don't know if she parted ways the best or even cares about Star Wars anymore.
She would be perfect. Like as soon as you said that, literally the first thought before you even said Natalie Portman, I thought, oh my gosh, if they get Natalie Portman out there, the audience is going to go crazy.
I mean, she's in the good graces with Disney right now. She's going to be the front center image of Thor coming out in July. So, I mean, maybe they work something out.
Yeah. Like how great would that be to have, I don't know, God, get the audience really going. Have George walk out. Have Ewan walk out. And then
oh my gosh,
Hayden,
if I get to see George
Hayden,
Lucas with my own eyes, my head might explode.
and then Hayden, and then them be like, oh, we have one more special guest, and Natalie Portman comes walking out. Like,
oh man.
Also, with this being an Attack of the Clones thing, I 100%. I'm not sure if it's confirmed or not, but I really think Tamara Morrison's going to be there then.
Oh, that is a really good thought
I mean,
because.
he's the reason that movie works. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his
Mm-hmm.
character. I mean, his face. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, there's okay, so let me rewind back to 2019. We had a Phantom Menace panel. That was the 20th anniversary at Chicago.
yeah,
I hope they looked at that panel and they made some adjustments because there were many of us that were kind of just like, that was a thing, it happened, and we don't talk about it. Because
yeah.
it was very uneventful. We expected to be excited more. All that was on that panel, the first half of it, and I don't want to throw any shade, but it was just like some of the technical artists and the people that I haven't really even known existed. Not to shade them at all. This is not for me
Yeah.
to tell. Like, but I didn't know who these people were. They weren't significant to me, and it kind
You
of rambled
expect
on for a while.
high-profile people to be there at an anniversary panel.
Yeah, it was kind of, and they started announcing people. It was like Ewan McGregor. It was like Ian McDermott. It was Anthony Daniels, I think, and I think it was uh and this was a cool moment. It was Ahmed Best who plays Jar Jar Binks, and
Oh
he
yeah,
had been going through some stuff recently at that time.
that was a great moment.
And it was like a standing ovation, and it was awesome. But we were expecting like Liam Neeson, we were expecting Ewan McGregor, we were expecting Hayden Christensen, Natalie Portman, and then we also got like one of the funniest moments of George Lucas. One of the funniest moments.
Yeah,
He videoed in on a pre-recorded like cell phone video. It's just like it was
yeah,
just like him being so awkward. It was just classic George Lucas in his 70s, It was just like
yeah.
he doesn't know how to hold the phone or how to like look at it. It's just like so funny, man. That was the best part of the panel. But the lead
Oh
up to the
yeah.
panel, the lead up to the panel was the best part. And that's not a good thing to say because like everybody was so hyped. And then they played the trailer for the Phantom Menace that like brought the world to its heels when it first came out in 1998 or whatever, the trailer. And then everybody
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, we're so in. We're getting all these people." And then like nobody really significant really showed up that much. Not throwing shade on anybody. It's just we had high expectations, and here's what's different, right? You already have Ewan McGregor there, so you already know it's going to be freaking awesome because that means a major character is going to be there. And one of the big three is going to be there. I strongly think that Hayden will be there because Obi-Wan. Even if it was just Hayden and him and Ian McDermott and Tamar Morrison, like that's an incredible panel right there. Like they have the makings of it. And the good thing about this celebration too is that it's in California and that's where all the celebrities and the actors live. So it can't take much out of them to like come down from their house in Beverly Hills or something from like an hour away to drive down or something to just spend an afternoon there and
Get
get like
paid.
paid the $20,000 just for an hour panel.
Hey, that sounds pretty nice to me. Yeah, see, like I agree. I think there's a good chance. The more we've talked about it, I think, of course, Ewan's gonna be on the panel, I'm sure. Ian McDermott's gonna be on the panel, I'm sure, because they're there already. Um, maybe, yeah, I think him, Ian,
Oh, the girl that plays
Hayden.
Alice Secure is gonna be there. So let's bring some of these. As much as I threw shade at some of the other people just a minute ago, but not really. Let's bring on some of the side characters. Let's bring
Yeah,
up Alice Secura, the actress. Let's bring up some of these people that
yeah,
deserve the time to shine because, I mean, they're part of the movie too, right? So it's not just about the major
yeah.
guys, but it is nice to have the major guys. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, actually, I just thought of one that would like really rock the house too. Okay, you bring out let's say Padme, let's say Natalie's not even there. Let's just say it's Ewan and Ian McDermott. And what if you get freaking Tamara Morrison and Daniel Logan walking out on stage? Because the fans are really like liking
Oh
Daniel
wait,
Logan a lot. I've seen on social media. Like
Daniel
maybe.
Logan's gonna be there.
Oh, then well, there's your answer. Okay, so we've got three people so far. It's probably Ewan, Ian,
Dude,
Daniel.
it's
Well, we're
gonna be
figuring out the
like
panel.
it's gonna be like 2017's panel in Orlando. They had all those chairs, and it was like for the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. I feel like they had that what they did. They had so many actors on that stage. It was like, I feel like it's gonna be the same way for this Attack of the Clones panel. It's gonna blow out the freaking Phantom Menace one.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be great. Yeah, I think that panel is gonna be. I really hope. Like, I hope it's gonna be really great like that. And I mean, heck, there's so many different options. Like I said, I hope though, for your guys' sake, I hope George makes an appearance there, just because for you guys, just to see him in person, like that'd be incredible.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. You never
Coming
know
up
with him.
next.
That's the thing. You just never know with George though, what he's going to be at or what he doesn't want to be at.
You don't know. All right, we also have a Star Wars merchandise
Yep.
for Disney parks and Shop Disney. Probably not going to go to that one. This one I will try to attend. This is Go Beyond the Spires and virtual reality, making a viral MX Labs Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. So that's definitely one I want to check out because obviously I played that game. You guys have
Yep.
seen the stream of me playing that game on here. We have the Hasbro Star Wars panel. Oh, I can't wait for this one. The reason why is I've never been to a Hasbro Star Wars panel.
Yep.
Um, and too bad that Dark Nerdy Gonzo is not in the chat tonight because I know he would have a few words to say about this specific panel because they have this same panel basically at New York Comic Con every year, and they open up the Q&A and they get ripped hard by the fans, like point blank. And I think that Dark Nerdy Gonzo had said that like recent years they just stopped doing a Q&A because they're like they don't want to get the flack from the fans because it's like you get the fans asking the questions of like, oh, why are you making so many Darth Vaders, or like, why is this not being done? Why is this being done? Why are you releasing figures for movies that came out 5 years ago and you can't get a single figure out for the thing that's coming next? They get ripped apart
Mhm.
by the fans. And I would love to be a fly on the wall or be in the room if they actually had a Q&A because they would just have negative feedback, I feel like. And it would be kind of like terrible for them because like I wouldn't want to be in their shoes to be like on that stage and like have to dance around stuff all the time. But for me, I would be like, all right, give me a bowl of popcorn because this is gonna get
Yeah.
spicy here.
See, like that. That's great. Like, it's good though. They get feedback. Like, I think that is good, getting feedback like that, constructive criticism. And hey, I mean, again, playing off our thing we talked about earlier, like Star Wars being light. You don't got. They want to have to answer seriously back. You could play it real light. Like, when they say, hey, why do you make so many Darth Vader figures all the time? Like, gosh, you re-release one every week. Okay, you know why? Because we rake in the money. Like, that's why. Like just have fun with it. Like, I mean, I'm sure the audience our viewers can tell. Like, I'm so burnt out on like all these suits just being so serious. Like, just have fun. Like life is way too short to be like so dead serious all the time. And like, just have fun with it. Like, if the fans are heckling you, heckle them right back. Like, have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like, I just think stuff like that would be a lot of fun. But like you said, I think they probably just won't even have a Q&A for that.
No, no. Moving on,
Mm-mm.
we have From a Galaxy Far, Far Away to a Disney Park Near You. A chronological journey through Star Wars experiences at Disney parks around the world, starting with the earliest collaborations between Disney and Lucasfilm, Captain EO and Star Tours, leading all the way through the newest emerging. So they're talking about Galaxy's Edge, we're talking about Galactic Star Cruiser, we're talking about the Hyperspace Lounge, and some other things. I would say, and I don't know any inside information. I don't want to waste anybody's time if you're listening to this thinking, I don't need to go to this
Yep.
panel. But literally later that day, there's going to be a big Star Wars night. And I kind of want to say if you're in that room, and I don't want to throw this out to the universe, but whatever. I already started down the dark path. I might as well finish my thought, right? Just maybe they'll give you a ticket to go to the park that night. I'm just saying, I
Yeah.
don't know anything. I seriously don't know anything, but I know sometimes these panels have like crazy giveaways. And it's like, well, the park is right there. Like they could just reserve like 200 tickets for the people in that room and then well, actually, it's on the celebration stage, so I don't know if they're going to give out like 7,000 tickets. That's probably not going to happen. But hey, show up to this panel because you'll probably get a t-shirt because that's what happened to me the last time I went. to the one in Chicago.
Yeah.
I have a T-shirt that I've never worn because it's like 3 sizes too large for me. So, but they gave me a Coca-Cola shirt that says Coca-Cola and Arabesh for like the Batu design or whatever.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, I mean, well, we'll see because Galaxy's Galactic Star Cruiser came out and it kind of came out and it went out because I haven't heard anybody talking about it. If you ask me, right?
Hey, don't. That's one thing at this panel. Don't open up a Q&A about that Galactic Star Cruiser, because I'm sure they would get some interesting responses from fans. But yeah, I think it should be an interesting, like you said. I really they might end up doing something like that, whether it be free T-shirts or hey, first come first serve type tickets to the park, or maybe hey, everybody in here gets discounts to it or something like maybe
Yeah.
something like that, just to make it a little more exclusive. Because I feel like that panel, of course, has less of a draw than the shows. So maybe they're like, hey, let's reward the people that come to this panel.
Yeah, but it's also on the celebration stage. So that's like the main stage. Like this isn't out on some like side stage, right? This is like they
Oh
want to draw
yeah.
people in. And
Hmm.
I always think back to San Diego Comic-Con 2015. And I know a few of my buddies from the Star Wars Underworld, Dominic Jones, I believe, Chris Sequel, and my buddy over there, Ben Hart. They were part of an audience that after the panel for the episode 7, they said, okay, everybody reach under your seats. You have a ticket to go to a Star Wars concert right now. We're going. And they literally walked like 5,000 people across the street to a freaking arena. And they had John Williams playing
Yep.
outside. And they gave everybody like lightsabers. Like, it's not out of the question for Disney to pull something crazy off like that. I already have a
Yeah.
ticket to the event, so I don't have to go just to have a hope for getting it. But I think it'd be pretty cool if they actually did something like that.
Oh yeah. Like see, like you said, there's precedence for it right there. So maybe that's how they do it. That's how you control like a crazy crowd. Like, hey, the ticket's under your seat. Don't worry, etc. So maybe they do it like that, just to award the people who are coming, or like really there, like actually sitting in the seats, listening to the panel. So yeah, I think that's a really good point that you made there. Maybe there's a chance of that, because as we've talked about throughout this entire show so far, there are gaps in the schedule for celebrations. So maybe there's something after this panel.
Yeah, well, the Galactic Night event happens at 6 o'clock, so I think they might just give you a voucher if they were to do that. Be like,
Yep.
here's your actual ticket. You just, here's the QR code. Boom, sign in. You're good to go. See you there at
Yep.
6. Or let's just shoot up for the sky's limit. Here's your voucher for the 2 night stay at Galaxy Star Cruiser, Galactic Star Cruiser.
Here's your voucher for George Lucas autographs in person and photo shoots.
let's just see how that's gonna go.
We had to pay George like 10 million to do this, by the way, but
All right, moving on. We have another Star Wars park thing. 35 years of the Star Tours Adventures with D23. That could be fun. I went there way back when I was 10. This is like over 20 years ago now, so pretty cool. Now this one I'm extremely excited for because last time I missed this because it was during the Fallen Order panel. And this is Let's Play Star Wars: The Galaxy of Tabletop Games from 5 to 6 on the Twin Sun stage. You got all the games going to be there. You got Star Wars Legion. You got Star Wars X-Wing. You got some of the stuff that Fantasy Flight is doing, probably with the Outer Rim game and some other things. So, hey, I'm definitely going to be there because I play Star Wars Legion. I'm hoping that the creators of Star Wars Legion, Atomic Mass Games, has a booth that I can buy the Shadow Collective expansion because it's not coming out till June, and they have a habit of bringing stuff early if it's a couple weeks away. So I'm hoping that I can get my hands on something a couple weeks before everybody else does, because that's one of the fun things about Star Wars. In general, Star Wars Celebration and any convention is they tend to give you stuff a little early if it's like a couple weeks before. So I'm hoping for that. We also have Behind the Audiobook on Friday, making an original Star Wars adventure that has things with discussions of the Tempest Runner audio drama, Dr. Aphra audio drama, so definitely want to check that out. we're moving over to Saturday. Mando plus a conversation with Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni in their first appearance at Star Wars Celebration since the premiere of The Mandalorian. Join Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni with special guests for a look back and a look ahead of what's to come. So I'll stop that right there. We'll talk a little bit about this. So what do you think we can expect from this one, Ben?
How? Well, my first question is, I don't have the article pulled up on my phone right now, but how is Mando Plus written? Is it like Mando with a plus logo?
Yep.
Oh yeah, so then that means we're 100% getting like Ahsoka stuff, you know? Like they're definitely gonna bring. They're definitely okay. I just wanted to make sure, just the wording of that. Yeah, so I think, of course I'm sure they'll, we'll go over Mando, go over Book of Boba. They'll probably highlight some of the highs of the shows, like, Luke popping in and the action sequences and things. And then a look ahead, that's where things could get really, really interesting, because what if, mirroring what we talked about earlier with Thrawn, what if they go and we get kind of a flashback to Thrawn's introduction for Rebels? What if they, I don't know, kill the lights and they're like, hey, let's take a look at our next upcoming show in the Mandoverse, Ahsoka or something, and it's literally just like a 10-second clip of Thrawn walking out like he did for the Rebels appearance. Like, make it be something boom like that and just blow the audience away. Because it says a look ahead, and the only thing to look ahead to, I guess is Mando season 3, but it says plus on the thing.
Yeah.
So that means we're gonna look ahead to Ahsoka. So it's like, oh my gosh, like if they do something like that, just give us a thing of Thrawn, like a little shot, like one shot of whoever it is playing. I don't care at this point. I don't care who it is. I just want to see Thrawn. So just like show me Thrawn, and that would break the internet, because the funny thing is, the ironic thing, as the Emperor would say, how ironic, but the ironic thing is Thrawn's the one who broke the internet for that Star Wars Celebration a few years back, when everyone joked around and was like, man, Star Wars Rebels overshadowed everything else at the whole at the celebration, basically. So like it'd be really ironic if it wraps back around and live action Thrawn overshadows everything at this celebration. Like just give us something like that in the look ahead, because the look ahead is what I really care about for this panel, honestly.
I need to know, beyond Ahsoka, this isn't just a two series runaround. We originally had Rangers of the New Republic Book of Boba Fett is another. It's not just 2, it's 3 right now. But let's get an update on that. Let's address Gina Carano being cut from this thing and then having to scramble and do something else. I don't want them to kind of skirt around that edge. I want them to come out and confirm, like, hey, we're doing a Cobb Vanth series now, or something, or something to that degree. Like,
what's just the Rebels? What about if you're not gonna have Gina Carano, the main girl from Rebels, the Twi'lek, or not the Twi'lek, the Ghost Crew leader.
Hera Syndulla.
Hera, yeah. What if they come out and say, boom, it's Rangers of the New Republic starring Hera Syndulla and blah, 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 blah. Like, something like that. Like, just like you said, we want to hear more, though.
Yeah, so I got my good buddy Joel Davis. He's going to join me on Thursday at Celebration. I'll be looking out for you, but I got a lot of people that I have to meet that I haven't ever met before, but I've been talking on the internet with for literally months and years. So it's always fun. Yeah, man. So give us confirmation what's going on with Rangers of the New Republic. Give us a look at Thrawn, even if he walks up on the stage, a freaking badass. Have Grogu walk on the stage, like literally have a puppet Grogu. That's got to happen, right? There's got to be a panel that has an actual life-size Grogu walking around. They've done that before with Force Awakens BB-8. That is something that boggles my mind still. And they say it in the description. This is the first time we've had Celebration since the release of Mandalorian. Look at how much Star Wars fandom has changed since The Mandalorian. It has set the world on fire beyond belief. It's not just the fandom, it's the entire world that's set on fire. So it's kind of crazy to think that we're not going to have ever seen Baby Yoda slash Grogu like walking out on a stage before. It's going to be like the first
Yeah.
time, so let's go.
Oh, for sure. I mean, have him like. I mean, I'm pretty sure Pedro's not going to be there, or Pedro's not listed. I don't think. But man, how crazy would the audience go? Like, man, Chris, you and me are really like playing with house money. Like we're setting all of our expectations like sky high, and they're going to be like middle high. But man, what if like why not kill the lights? Have Pedro walk out in full Mando gear with the life size baby Grogu, or have Grogu on one side. Like think about this: how wild would the internet and just everybody at Celebration be? What if kill the lights? You have Grogu on one side of the stage, and freaking Pedro Pascal and Mando gear walk across the stage to like reunite with Grogu, like to signify Mando season 3. Like that would just blow the audience completely out of the water. But again, that's like setting our expectations sky
like
high.
Lucasfilm, I hope one of your people is watching today's stream because you got some good ideas here.
Because I mean, fans would have a meltdown if that happened. Because that'd be such a cute moment. Or at minimum, like you said, at minimum, I think the panel. Of course, if we get thrown, it won't be a letdown. But if we go through the panel and they don't even have a live action Grogu at the panel, I would be stunned, completely stunned.
Yeah, so let's look at the next thing here, because we have behind the scenes of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, and this is literally like right after that panel ends. You have like an hour wait, and it's like on the same stage and everything. This is behind the scenes, so you have everything with Jon Favreau, and just they got to have something with them because they're talking about the ILM stagecraft team, the creatures, practical puppets. I feel like if anything, like the Grogu is going to appear here because this whole panel is just about that. Like they're gonna behind the scenes, like they're gonna talk for 45 minutes just about Grogu probably at this thing.
The one. Also, you're talking about those type of effects and things. It'd be great if they have Shamook, that YouTuber they hired for Luke, to be there. That would be really cool. Just hearing from him talking about joining Lucasfilm.
Yep. So we also have the Star Wars cosplay competition. This is a weird time. It's 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Now, New York Comic Con, this would be the something to like end the day. Like, okay, everybody's had a long, exhausting day of being excited for literally 8 hours. Let's all chill and watch some really cool Star Wars cosplay. No, this is smack dab in like the beginning of the day, basically. So that's really cool. Definitely want to check that out. Then we also have Star Wars Hunters. Welcome to the greatest show in the galaxy. So right now, this is the only Star Wars gaming panel, and I find it very funny that out of all the games, Star Wars Hunters would get this because it's just a free-to-play mobile game. So that's where it leads me to believe, like, yeah, they're going to have a panel talk about Jedi Fallen Order sequel, about what Respawn's working on, what Ubisoft and what Eclipse and all those sort of things. They'll probably roll into like a big showcase gaming panel would be my assumption there. We already talked at length. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I completely agree with you. It's gonna most likely just be a big showcase panel. Maybe, hey, this is what's coming up next. This is what's in development. Blah blah blah. I feel like that panel might end up, if they do a panel like that, it's probably gonna be pretty snappy. They'll just get right through the points basically and keep it moving. But maybe I'm not sure. I'm not. I guess I would say I'm more of a casual gamer. I mean, I video game almost every day. But I don't keep up with a lot of like the different news or like a lot of the things. So like, is there any type of when's the big video game thing? Like the big video game convention usually?
Sure. The funny thing is E3 is canceled. E3 is not happening this year.
Oh, really? Oh,
but
crap.
But the thing is that they just announced this literally yesterday. Xbox is having their like gaming showcase happening on I think like the second Sunday of June. So we might also, whatever they don't show here, there's a possibility they might show it there because they also said they're going to do third-party games, but who knows, maybe Xbox is working on an exclusive game because apparently PlayStation is because they're working on an exclusive KOTOR game. So
Yep.
it's not like Xbox can't have their own exclusive Star Wars game shown off there as well. So yeah.
Interesting.
We also have Doug Chang designing The Mandalorian. This is still on Saturday. This is 4 to 5. And this one also has a lot with Grogu. So there could be multiple appearances of a live action Grogu at one point on Saturday. Also, Marvel Comics is having a panel 4:30 live on the Twin Sun stage. Joel Davis, you're joining us here live. Man, they gotta announce something with Return of the Jedi post stories or post Return of the Jedi stories because man, oh man, I feel like we need to get out of this empire. I was really looking forward to it, but it feels like it's sort of dragging. And I've talked about this before, but when you're tying all of these comics and these stories to one event that is going on for a very long time, I feel like for that 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, which is going to happen next year, I feel like it's the perfect time in this panel to be like, hey, we are transitioning after Return of the Jedi, and we're going to be going forward ongoing, and maybe announce some stuff like that's in different eras too, because they have like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that's starting off next week. They have the Halcyon adventure stories that are coming out, which are cool. But there's still too much stuff in one area, right? You have like
Yeah.
4 comics in one area, and it's like shrinking the universe just a little bit.
Well, see, I think with that, I think what they're doing is, like you said, they're leading up to Jedi, Return of the Jedi, that is, and maybe they'll cap it there because then I think the reason they aren't going ham between episode 6 and 7 is I think they're trying to be careful because, say if they let a whole big, like a 32 issue comic line come out between 6 and 7, that could potentially bootstrap them on maybe, oh crap, we want to do a live action Luke and Grogu series about, they could get bootstrapped potentially. So like, I think that's why they're being conservative with the 6 and 7 timeline personally. Like, I think that's really what it is. Cause I think I think it comes back to John and Dave. I really think John and Dave were like, hey, 6 and 7, like that's our era, like that time slot. So I think that's why they're potentially being conservative with that slot of time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree to a certain degree, but I also think that there's plenty of time between Return of the Jedi and The Mandalorian specifically that they have time to build that up. There's a 5 year
Oh yeah,
gap. We've already gotten stories in that time, so it's not unprecedented. Like you have Shattered Empire, which is probably a couple months after. You have the Battlefront 2 video game storyline, which
Aftermath trilogy.
you have Aftermath trilogy. You have I have them right behind me. The Alphabet Squadron trilogy, which leads up to
Yep.
it now. You have Han Solo Last Shot, which is about 2 or 3 years after, because Ben Solo's a baby at that point. So there are so many stories that they could still have like really interesting comic stories like within that 2 or 3 years after Return of the Jedi that I would think, with the story group they can be like, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, just do this for now. And by the time
Yep.
those get close, you're gonna be into like almost the end of the Mandalorian verse, maybe. Who knows? And then they could really go crazy.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Like you can work around it just because, like you said, you have 5 years to play with. And in terms of like comic book language, 5 years is basically an eternity for comics. You
Oh
could
yeah.
do so many comics, you could do so many issues. I mean, look, the War of the Bounty Hunters was what, 20 some issues or so, 30
Yep.
issues. Like, and that was only in such a short period of time, basically. So you could literally do a comic run, like a 30 issue comic run over just like a 3 month time period after episode
Exactly.
6. Like
Exactly.
like you could start playing around like that and really playing around with it. And again, even if you don't want to mess with the big dog characters like Luke, for example, or Han or Leia, like you can still just go around, work on some of the other rebel characters. Like there's Wedge. Wedge is one of my favorite side characters in Star Wars, in my opinion. Like he's such a good, solid side character. Like do a 20 some issue comic run of him after Return of the Jedi, doing stuff that he would do, like just going on missions and stuff, like different things like that. Or, I don't think we'll ever see it because it's such a hard thing to really focus on villains. But, give us a whole 30 issue comic run of the First Order slowly building up, like in the background. Like do it from their
Oh yeah,
perspective.
Ray
Don't even include the
Sloan,
don't
Brental
even include the
Hux.
good guys. Yep, exactly. Like just do something like that, and that would intrigue the audience. I feel like a lot, and then it still leaves you open for stories with like Han, Luke, and Leia.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. We also have another actor specific panel. This is I Am C3PO with Anthony Daniels. And anybody that's seen Anthony Daniels in person knows he's a character and he could literally talk for hours. So it's definitely one that I would say is probably worth watching for sure.
So
Um,
that's another character added to the Attack of the Clones panel.
there you go. Keeping that active tally mark. We're at like 6 or 7
Yep.
people that could be on that stage at
Yep.
this point easily. Yeah, not even counting like the creators, right? So people behind the scenes and stuff like that. You could have like Doug Chang up there, right? And all those people. Um,
Yep.
we also have Del Rey behind the scenes. This is one I think they might announce a new book at because they're going to be talking about The Princess and the Scoundrel, The Brotherhood, and Shadow of the Sith. There's 3 books, 2 of which will be out almost. And then you have The Princess and the Scoundrel, which will be out at the end of the summer, I believe. So yeah, why not announce another book? Why not? Um, this brings us to our final day. This is Star Wars: The Bad Batch Season 2. So I think on this one, well, it's got Michelle Ang who plays Omega, and you have Dee Bradley Baker, of course, who plays all the clones. It's about time. We thought that we might be getting this series in between Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and at one point there was that thing in Star Wars magazine that said, "Oh, it was coming in the
Yeah.
spring." Well, hey, it's spring right now. Where is it? So it's nice
Then
to
it
see that
changed to
this
coming
thing
soon.
is coming soon. But if it goes like any other Star Wars animated panel from the past, we'll probably see like maybe one episode or something. Because in years past, I remember I hadn't been to them at this point because I've only been to Star Wars Celebration Chicago, but they've shown like entire Rebel episodes like all the time. They would do that. That'd be like
Yep.
the go-to thing. They showed that Vader episode early, like you said before.
Siege of
They
Lothal.
Siege of Lothal. They showed the Mandalorian season 4 opener episode, whatever that was called, with Sabine and her parents and all that. They showed that episode. I mean, in Celebration Chicago, they showed like bits and pieces of some of those final arcs. The Martez sister arc, they showed
Yep.
something like from that or something like that. So they're definitely going to show us footage. I really want them to talk about Wayland and Mount Tantus a lot because that could be really big when it comes to the Mandalorian verse and like, hey, have Dave Filoni up there explaining what the significance of that and maybe tease some things that we might see in there that relate to Thrawn or something like that, you know? So it's gonna be cool to see Michelle Ang because she's never really been in front of an audience for Star Wars fans. So I'm excited for her to kind of see like how the community is rabid for this stuff and how she reacts will be great. And of course, D. Bradley Baker, he was at New York Comic Con this year. I've seen him on multiple panels. Like he would just show up and it was like, oh, I play this random character alien in Star Trek. And I was like, oh, cool. He's back on stage talking about this crazy alien. And D. Bradley Baker is such a master that he'll just like start speaking in whatever character voice he is and making these like weird noises. It's just freaking hilarious. So I'm always excited to see him talking on stage. So I feel like that one's going to definitely be one that you won't want to miss.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a really good panel. Until they come out and go, "Hey guys, I hate to tell you, or we're pleased to tell you, Sid's going to be with the Bad Batch the entire season."
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But no, for real, I think the panel should be really good. I'm excited to hear what Michelle Ang has to say, just because Omega was my favorite character from the Bad Batch, just overall. I really enjoyed her arc as a whole. Um, there were some bumpy moments in it. I mean, that show had a lot of bumpy moments, just to be real. But I really liked her character a lot, so I'm excited to see what she has to say. I'm interested to see. We're of course going to get a trailer for that show, so
Oh yeah.
it makes me wonder if they do like a little Boba Fett address in the trailer, like something
Oh.
something related to like maybe I don't even know, like her talking about I don't know, finding this other clone or whatever, something along those lines, like just something really alluding to Boba Fett, and then maybe I
Here's
don't
the
know the
thing.
trailer like picks up and it cuts and shows Boba at the end. Like,
And then you have Daniel Logan walk out on stage saying he's reprising his role as Boba Fett.
yeah,
Because something I picked up from playing Lego The Star Wars Skywalker Saga, Daniel Logan does the voice of Boba Fett in the game. So he's already
yep,
been in the VO booth to a certain degree. So it's like, all right, why don't you just work on this series while you're at it?
yep. It makes me really wonder. Um, so yeah, I think there's a chance. Now that you say that, I think there's a good chance for that potentially, because I mean, come on, we joked around about it last year with leading into the Book of Boba and with the Bad Batch. Like, you know, there are many times on here where we were saying, yeah, this could be the year of Boba Fett. Like, Boba Fett could be getting really shown a lot because look, you know, he was alluded to in Bad Batch. He was alluded to several times in Bad Batch. So it just makes you wonder, okay, how's that going to pay off? Or is it just going to be a throwaway, multiple throwaway lines? Like, I think it's going to pay off at some point, just because for me, and this is just like a prediction leading into season 2, since we're going to presumably have it sometime, maybe in the next 6 months, because I think, you know, with Omega, like having so many, say, you know, she has her new adopted family. I think there's a chance we get to a spot where Boba, like maybe Boba's telling her to come with him because, hey, I'm your real family. Like these guys aren't, type deal or something. And she's struggling with that throughout the series. So like, I think we're going to get some type of a brother-sister struggle back and forth in the series at some point if Boba gets introduced. So like, you know, there's a chance for that at this panel. Like, I think at minimum, even stripping away all those theories and stuff, at minimum, we'll get a trailer. And then maybe, like you said, I think we're for sure going to get, or well, you guys in person anyways, are going to get an episode or 2 of the show. Or maybe it'll be a long premiere like season 1 was, like it'll be like an hour and 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, so what I was looking at is the stage that this is on. So on the celebration stage, it says from 11 to 12. And then if I look at the next thing that's on the celebration stage, it's at 1 o'clock.
So you
So
got enough time for a 45-minute episode.
basically, like they could literally just talk for 15 minutes and be like, hey, we brought something for you guys to watch, and just end up showing us like the first episode or 2. So, all
Yeah.
right. Whoo, man. Like I said, this is not even all the panels, guys. We're talking overtime here. We're putting Ben on the clock overtime here, talking
Oh,
Star
you're
Wars
good.
Celebration because man, oh man, like this stuff is just loaded. This is what happens when you take 3-year breaks from Star Wars Celebration. You just pack everything in one, and I'm all for
Oh, well, just think I mean, God, at this rate, we'll have a 5-part podcast for the celebration.
it. Yeah. Next up, we have a look back at Star Wars Visions. So 12:30 to 1:30. Join team members from Lucasfilm and Cubic Pictures as they discuss development and success of Star Wars Visions. Hosted by longtime anime and Star Wars fan Chastity Vicengia, the panelists will share highlights from production, discuss how they worked with Kamikaze Duja, Studio Colorido, Geno Studio, Trigger, Kinema Citrus Company, Production IG, and Science Saru to bring Star Wars Visions to life, show never before seen concept art, and keyword more. This is where we're gonna get that acknowledgement of a season 2. I feel like
Yep.
they're gonna front load this with some cool looks back, but I feel like we're gonna spend a significant time talking about the future of Star Wars Visions and how it might even come out as early as this year. It maybe even show us some new stuff. Maybe they'll show us like the first short entirely, because those things don't have to, they're like 20, 10, 15 minutes long. They could show us an entire one right there and say we have a new studio working on this one that we haven't seen before. And I want to see how that's formatted. Right? We could spend literally 40 minutes just talking about this specific panel because I feel like there's so much to break down. I want to see like how it was received on Lucasfilm's end, like how it did on Disney Plus, everything going forward, how it worked for Lucasfilm, how it changed how they worked creatively with these studios versus what they've done before. Like this panel could be really interesting because Star Wars Visions was a breath of fresh air for Star Wars.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I think actually, if they show another episode, again, it falls into the whole play to the crowd, play to the hype, play to the what people really liked. What if they, go through the panel and like, okay, guys, we have the first episode for season 2 of this show, and it's the sequel to the Ninth Jedi. Boom, and they just drop a big hammer mega episode on the celebration audience. Like that would be incredible. Of course, I'm not there to see it, so it wouldn't be incredible for me at home, but it would be incredible to hear your feedback on it. Um, so like I would just just drop the hammer on the fans like that. Give them a big impact, or give them a sequel to the Duel. Those type of episodes. Or me and Milton's case, give us a sequel to that Dragon Ball Z episode of Visions. That was really good. Like just something like that. I think it would be great.
Yeah, we got Star Wars Timeline in the group. Thanks for joining us, man. Saying Visions demands demonstrates that not every Star Wars story needs to adhere to rigid canonical timeline. And as much as
Yep.
I am that guy that's always like, oh, like I love the canon, I love the connections, it
Yep.
was nice to be able to sit back in my chair and just experience Star Wars in ways that these creators wanted to without having their, hands handcuffed behind them and be like, you can't put that in there. It's not canon. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh, 100%. I feel like that's the biggest, um, whatever the term, breath of fresh air, breath of fresh air that comes with this show, because it lets the creators do whatever they want. I mean, heck, remember we had that, like that musical episode, like the Tatooine Band or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't a
Tattooed
fan of that.
Rhapsody.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that episode at all, but I can see where people who really appreciate music and all that stuff do, and that's awesome. And the best part about it is, like you said, it's not canon, so hey, it may not be for me, but then like the Duel and the Ninth Jedi and the Dragon Ball Z episode, like you weren't such a big fan of the Dragon Ball Z episode, but
No.
me and Milton loved it. Like, so that's the best part about it. With it not being canon, it's like, who cares? Like, let him just keep making cool episodes and have fun with it. And to me, um, yeah, I'm just really excited for it. I really am. I think Visions was such a like you said, breath of fresh air, and it's kind of like almost, I guess I would say, it's like even though it's very brief, but we almost get the feeling of what people felt watching Star Wars in 1977, totally new, not knowing anything else about Star Wars, just going in totally blind, like, okay, let's just see what this is. And Visions just blew us away, like how good it was.
Yeah, so we could look forward to that on Sunday. Moving on. I was hoping we would get a panel like this, and I'm so happy to see it's announced. Wonderful world of Wookiees, loyal allies, gifted pilots, skilled mechanics, and fierce warriors. Wookiees have come to be many things in the Star Wars galaxy. Join host Amy Ratcliffe and special guest Eunice Guantanamo from all of the episodes of Star Wars, basically, besides Peter Mayhew. He did episode 7, 8, 9 solo.
Yep.
We have Carrie Jones, Kersantin in Book of Boba Fett, and we have Charles Soule, who wrote in the High Republic character Buryaga Agaberry, for a Wookiee-focused discussion that will include a tribute to the iconic Peter Mayhew. I love that addition. I didn't read that the first time looking at the panel, but I love the idea that they're actually making this a tribute to Peter Mayhew, because he would have been on this panel if he was still around. Like, he was a big advocate of fan outreach, and he was always getting involved with conventions and with the many people that went to them, right? But I really love that Carrie Jones, this guy that I don't think like a lot of people know who this guy is, but he did such a great job of portraying this fierce, dark Wookiee Kersantin who first appeared in the comics. So I can't wait to hear this guy's input on like how he approached the character, how he got inspiration for the character, what he did to prepare for the role, because we don't get a lot of new Wookiee actors, right? Joanna Swantanamo was the only person that was really doing anything Wookiees parts in Star Wars. So I was hoping that we would get them two on the same panel after I seen that they were both doing autographs. I was like, oh, it'd be cool to have a Wookiee panel with these two guys. And here we go. We have a Wookiee panel with these two characters.
Oh, for sure. See,
Actors.
that's a good thing as well. I'm glad Star Wars didn't like cheap out about the Wookiees, because they could have easily just put in Jonas's contract, hey, you're playing every Wookiee that comes out in live action, dude. So like, it's nice that they actually have a different guy playing Black Chrysanthemum. Like I actually didn't realize that until now. Like I guess I just never looked into the casting of who played Black Chrysanthemum actually. So it's cool knowing that it's actually someone different than Jonas.
Yeah, exactly. Because Eunice has his own way of playing Wookiee, and then you have this guy, and I want to
Yep.
just hear that conversation of like two people that have played Wookiees, like the mannerisms, like how they got in the headspace to be a Wookiee. Like what could that? It's like the most nerdiest thing in Star Wars, but that's why I go to conventions like these because you just like to just sit there and be like, hey, this is me in a Star Wars conversation, surrounded by Star Wars fans, just nerding out right now, So.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Like the Wookiees, it's great. Like, there won't be any news that comes out of that panel or anything. It'll just be a good, fun panel. Like you said, with like Mark Hamill having his panels in the past, Warwick Davis like doing his things, like, different people just doing having their panels. Ian McDermott's panel, like, there are different panels. It'll just be a good, fun time.
Heck yeah. Going over to Star Wars, The Clone Wars, The Siege of Mandalore screening. Like, oh my gosh, was this a surprise to see on the schedule for Sunday from 1 o'clock to 3 p.m. live on the celebration stage? Join host David Collins and special guests Dave Filoni, Carrie Beck, and Athena Portillo for a special screening of Siege of Mandalore, the 4-episode arc that makes up the cinematic final chapter of Star Wars The Clone Wars. Like, I get goosebumps just saying that. Like, because this is something that like Star Wars fans love to have happen at these conventions is you just put together these episodes of the Clone Wars, some of the best arcs, and just put them on a giant screen with a really good audio system and watch them in a group of with fans and just experience it because they've done stuff like this before with the 3D releases of the Star Wars movies. I remember some of my friends telling me that in the years past they'd see like they were the only people that ever see because it never came out in theaters like the 3D version of Revenge of the Sith I think and stuff like that. So
Yep.
there you go. It's like all right, like let's sit there and enjoy Siege of Mandalore and you know we know this is not going to be the only screening there. They're just not releasing that they're going to have Obi-Wan screening there. Maybe they'll have some other screenings too, because usually what I like about Celebration in Chicago, they had like the movies, and at that time that's all we had. So they'll probably have Mandalorian playing. They usually have at Celebration in like the hotel that's like linked, which was at the Marriott. They have a room where you could just drop in and just chill for 2 hours and watch a Star Wars movie. Like they literally
Yep.
have a Star Wars movie playing like 24 hours, like the whole thing. So they'll be
Yeah.
like play like, oh, go here at 2 o'clock and just chill in this room and watch Empire Strikes Back for 30 minutes, and I'll go get my lunch and I'll go over to the panel. Um, it's kind of insane how easy it is to do that.
Oh yeah. See, like that type of thing's really cool because you could say, hey, I watched the Siege of Mandalore with Dave Filoni. Like, how cool is that? You get those type of like experience things that you want to experience not going. So like those type of things are just lifelong awesome memories to have. Yeah, I just think it'll be a lot of fun. And then you saying about the Kenobi panel, Kenobi, like they're for sure going to have Kenobi a Kenobi screening. I think, anyways, and I think if you even watch like go back and watch the announcement video when they announced they were moving it, like sure they could have meant obviously we're all watching it on Friday, but the way Ewan says it, he says let's all watch it together. I'm pretty sure his terminology is he says let's all watch it together in that
Yeah.
clip, and that makes me think that means you guys are going to literally be watching it with Ewan McGregor at Celebration.
Oh my gosh, is that a freaking crazy thing to think about?
Like I
I
really believe that, but
Yeah,
continue.
yeah. I gotta address one of our chatters in there. Dark
Yep.
Nerdy Gonzo is arrived, and I called you out, man, because earlier in the podcast we've been going at this for almost 3 hours, mind you, but you can find it back in the archives. We were talking about the Hasbro Star Wars panel and how much you love going to those things. So I had to drop your name there on the podcast because I know how much you love those things. But getting back to it, we're almost at the end. We're almost at the end. We have behind the scenes the creatures of Return of the Jedi. So this is going to be a fun one for sure. Um, this is what brought me up on Star Wars, guys. I remember watching Return of the Jedi. I've told this story probably like close to 10 times on the channel in the last 6 or 7 years. Seeing it over my friend's house at the Jabba's Palace scene, and I was both terrified and both very intrigued about Jabba the Hutt and about all these other crazy looking creatures. And I might have to try to find a way to get on this panel because I would just love to hear about these people talking about like Jabba the Hutt and all these other characters in it.
Oh yeah, that panel is going to be a really cool one. Man, see that's one thing. Like, I don't have a ton of Star Wars collectibles anymore. I'm very selective on them, on the ones that I do get. But man, if I was at that panel, I would want to get a life-size Salacious B. Crumb. I would love to have one of them because he's like one of my favorite little aliens from Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not one of my favorites. I would like to see a Gamorrean guard. I would like to see.
They're gonna like the finale of that panel is gonna be covering the Rancor though.
Oh yeah, probably. Yep. Let's see. I'm pulling up some other things as we talk here because
oh, you're good.
Oh, we're far from out of the woods right now. Because I got some other things I want to mention. But first, last thing we're going to talk about with the official Star Wars panels is the Celebration Anaheim closing ceremony. This is on Sunday at 3:30. It goes to 4:30. So this is interesting here. It says Celebration Galaxy and StarWars.com stages. Okay, so they haven't even announced that there's a StarWars.com stage. So, hey, we know that's happening. It would be weird if they didn't have it. And I'll talk about that in a moment. But gather with your friends and fellow Star Wars fans to relive the best moments of the weekend and bid farewell to another Star Wars celebration featuring special guests, weekend highlights, and much more. This is a send-off you won't want to miss. So the fact that they say it's a send-off that you don't want to miss, I'm just wondering, like, is there going to be one last... I always hope that there's, like, one last big announcement that they save for the end. Like, besides, like, we'll see you 2023 in New York City. And that would be the thing that would get me real excited, because that would mean I wouldn't have to really spend money on airfare. But it'd be easier for you to get there at Milton, because we're all on the Eastern Seaboard. But
hey, there we go.
But hey, maybe they'll throw out one last thing, because I know at other celebrations, like the last day of the closing ceremony, they brought out Alden Ehrenreich and they confirmed him as Solo and Solo.
Hey,
Star
there you
Wars
go.
and stuff like that.
Confirmed Thrawn.
Oh.
Final thing.
No, confirmed Solo 2. It's happening. Hey.
Hey, that would be a great way to like end celebration. Just have now that would be, when we talk about Star Wars surprises, that would be a great one because Jonas is there. Why not have Jonas and Alden as a surprise guest? Have them walk out and kind of reliving the Dave Filoni like Ahsoka Lives shirt thing. Have them walk out and with shirts that say Solo 2 is happening or something, or Solo 2 is going to happen, like just something like that, and boom, blow the audience away.
Yeah, there's a lot that could happen. Oh wow! Apparently we have like a lot of New Yorkers in the house in the chat room today, so that's kind of cool. I'm from Jersey, so I'm very, very close. But yeah, basically our entire fan base, besides Joel Davis, who I believe lives in California, is like living in like the tri-state area. Basically, it seems like.
That's perfect.
That's so crazy. But anyway, yeah. So wrapping it up. Hey, that's. Okay, and this is what's going to blow your minds. This is what's going to blow your minds, guys. Those are just some of the official panels. And what I was bringing up, and this is going to blow your minds, what I was bringing up as I was stalling for time as Ben was talking for a moment there, is that there is a lot more where that came from. If you're watching the live stream, if you're watching on YouTube, I was just talking about the official panels. So Star Wars Celebration has panels that are run by the fans, that are run by the fan clubs. So there's about 50 other panels throughout the day. And some of these panels, guys, are the panels that, like, as much as the official announcement panels are fun as heck, like you're getting all the excitement of what's happening next, you have some of these other panels which are just almost even more memorable in my opinion because they really get into the nitty gritty of Star Wars in ways like you never would have imagined, but it's only because there's fellow Star Wars fans that you could really like connect with
Yeah.
what they're talking about. And as you see,
Oh,
I'm scrolling endlessly through these panels as you see here. And this
yeah.
is what you can expect, man. You just go and you could just chill. You need a break from the madness that is the showroom floor. You just walk on into one of these panel rooms. Hey, you can see how a guy builds Mandalorian armor. You can see exactly how they do it. Armor building with
Yeah.
the Mandalorian mercs on Thursday, 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Right? You can go
Oh,
over and you could do something
continue.
where it's like whatever, lightsaber training with the Saber Guild, right? So it's as much as it's really fun to get into these big panels, and that's the trick, is to get into them because as much as they're really cool, all the ones I was talking about, it's not guaranteed that you'll go to even maybe half of them because you have to enter a lottery system, and then if you're lucky, you might get into an overflow room if they have that available for some of the bigger panels, but you might just be watching on your phone like everybody else, you know? So but
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to highlight. And I'm gonna just keep scrolling so you guys can just keep seeing how this list
Oh,
just goes on and on
oh
and
yeah.
on.
When it comes to those like the side panels that aren't like the official panels, like the ones that are ran by like fans, like the Mercs and people like that. Those panels have been some of those interesting ones. Like for me, as just a fan, even watching from at home, like one of my favorite panels over the years, the most memorable ones. It was like I don't know, Star Wars Celebration, whatever, 2014, 2015 era. That time period was back in the Collider heydays when they had Jedi Council there, and
Oh yeah.
it was the whole Jedi Council crew. It was like Campia and Harloff and Perry Nemiroff and Mark Ellis and all those guys. They hosted a Jedi Council panel live there, and like that's such a cool thing that they let creators do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as to mention, as I was talking about the StarWars.com stage and how that was interesting. So usually they have like the
Yep.
Star Wars show or something, and like right in the smack dab middle of the actual stage or the actual like showroom floor where they have the booths of like the vendors and stuff like that. They usually have a huge ass like stage set up where they have like big projection screens around, and they have like randomly like some of the Star Wars stars just walking out, and you could basically almost touch them. Like you can go right up
Yep.
against the stage and like be right there, and they'll like interview these different characters and cast members, and that's where I seen the trailer for the Rise of Skywalker, and I seen it where it was like wall shoulder to shoulder people. We are crammed as big as that freaking showroom floor. Man, I felt like I was at a rock concert because it was just like glorious. I think Chris Forsyth can agree with me. That was something else. I don't know if he's seen it in like a room, but I seen it standing up, and it was freaking awesome, man. So even if you can't catch these things live in a room, you can probably go to wherever the stage is, and if they do it in the years past, then they'll do it. And now, I guess one last thing I'll finally say after this very long podcast um, is we don't know if it's going to be live streamed. I mean, geez, I can't imagine it not being, but I'm also like wondering, like, what are they waiting for? Like, why don't they announce this? Because people are gonna want to see this stuff, you know?
I don't I don't think they. I don't know. I feel like they never even really announced it was live streaming for past ones. I feel like it was just like assumed, like we went into it, like because
Uh,
I honestly don't remember them making a big fuss about it being live streamed on their YouTube channel. I mean, I could be completely wrong. Like, I mean, if any of our chat members want to correct me, but I feel like they never really advertised it even leading up that it was going to be live streamed on YouTube. I think it was just like assumed, it was happening. So I mean, like I said, I could be wrong, but I just don't remember them marketing their live stream.
hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
well, I'm sure we'll hear something next week because like next week is like the third 3 weeks away, and at that point, everything's got to be basically set in stone with 3 weeks away.
And it's May the 4th.
It's May the 4th, so yeah, it's gonna be a big week next week, guys. Speaking of which, I mean, I think we just about. Okay. I just got to the end of the list, so that's enough of that. So let me know in the comment section down below what panels you're looking forward to. Um, just that went on for a while, and like I said, that's not even all the darn panels. They still got lots of gaps, as Chris I think was saying as well, in that panel schedule. But oh yeah, Chris was saying the floor exploded. Yeah, that was one hell of a moment. Um, yeah. Joel Davis saying fan panels are probably better than regular ones. Uh, Definitely. Lot of chat going on. Oh, okay. Star Wars timeline saying is Tales of the Jedi is my sacred text. I hope they do it justice. So I'll reset this real quick because you're in the chat. Um, my whole framing process for Tales of the Jedi was, this is Luke Skywalker opening up the sacred text, and we're diving into those stories of these Jedi from years past. So
Yep.
there you go. That's my short explanation or my short speculation on what that show could be about in animation. But
Oh wait, what if it's actually Ray diving into the text because she
yeah,
takes the text,
yeah.
she has the text with her, so maybe it is actually something like that.
Mm-hmm. They can make it in universe. Like these literally are
Yep.
tales that she is reading.
Yep. Good point. Good. Hey, figuring out good stuff here tonight.
We're doing the heavy lifting for what the hell this show could be that we literally only know one sentence about.
Yeah.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, that's what we were looking at. The branded Tales of the Jedi logo. They'd be doing the fans a disservice if they decide to use that logo and didn't really do anything with the comics. So, um, on May 28th, we're gonna know a heck of a lot more when we actually get to see what's going on at that panel. But speaking of May the 4th and how we know that is happening next Wednesday, real quick, um, kind of update on what's happening next week for us here at Outer Ram Transmission. We are actually going to do our live stream, our podcast that Wednesday. We're doing it that Wednesday to celebrate Star Wars Day. We are actually going to do our commentary for A New Hope. So it worked out perfectly because we are trying to get out another commentary before Obi-Wan Kenobi comes out in the month of May at some point before Celebration. So it just turns out that, hey, that's probably a day that most of us are probably watching a Star Wars movie. So why not join us while we talk over it, because we've all seen it 100 times at least at this point. So there you go. Next Friday, approximately 9 o'clock Eastern time. That'll be our rare occurrence on a Wednesday. We'll be watching and commentating for A New Hope. Then we'll come back the following week and catch up on any news, because didn't really have time to talk about much else, because man, oh man, I wanted to have a Star Wars Celebration preview for the week before I went away, but it looks like we pretty much did it now. So,
Yeah.
I
Hey.
mean, I'll have a couple things to say about if you're going to the convention, a couple tips and tricks and stuff like that, but I think this is mainly our. We can't do much more of a deep dive than we already did unless they update those panels. We'll talk about the updated panels as we get those on that week or whatever.
Yeah.
But um, yeah. So we got Star Wars timeline. Let's do it. Pleasure to hear from you guys. Bring up those topics. Yep.
Yeah. We can't wait
So
to hear from you guys on Wednesday for our commentary. Join in. It'll be a lot of fun. Get your popcorn and snacks, and it'll be a good time.
heck yeah. So thanks for everybody for being super involved in the chat. It was one of our more successful videos for engagement. So really appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. Just getting excited about just everything Star Wars, from new series to what we can expect at Star Wars Celebration. There's a lot going on the docket for tonight. I was also going to talk a little bit about the Jedi Fallen Order stuff, but all it was an update that's coming out to next gen systems, and that it's probably not coming out until 2023.
Yep.
Always, that's a rumor right now, but that's the way it's looking. But anyway, we'll talk about that maybe in the future. Who knows? But anyway, so yes, next week you can catch us on Wednesday. For those of you that are watching us live that haven't seen us before, we do this as a recorded podcast as well that we upload to services like Spotify, like Google Playlists, like all those other services. So you can always look up Outer Rim Transmission. You'll find us on any of those services there to download. If you're on your way, can't watch the whole thing on YouTube, you can download it and listen to us on your way there or whatever. And if you're listening to us, thanks for continuing to listen to us. Please share us. If you have any Star Wars friends, let us know that we exist. We would very much appreciate that. We would love to increase our listenership over there on the podcast realm of things. So please go ahead and support us that way as well. It helps out a lot. As for the channel, I'm playing a lot of Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. I will be playing most likely tomorrow. So definitely tune in when you can, but they're all archived on the channel. I got to do a playlist one of these days so you guys can watch them easier. But I'm having a great time playing through those movies, one movie at a time. They're each about
Oh
an
yeah, they're
hour or
fun.
so in length, and I know Ben, you've been watching a lot of them, so
Yep.
it's been a lot of fun having you chiming into certain moments as they happen. It's always fun playing through with a live audience. Um, so yeah, I think that's about all the stuff I wanted to kind of chime
Yeah.
out there at the end. But
Yeah.
I want to shout out the chat room real quick. We had Chris Forsyth, we had Star Wars Timeline, we had Joel Davis, we had Aaron Daly, we had Dark Nerdy Gonzo, we had DLE, we had somebody way back when. I think that was everybody. Oh, Dave Reese. Yes. So there you go. We had a big turnout tonight, and hopefully we can catch you all this Wednesday on May the 4th. Is there anything you want to leave with our listeners slash viewers, Ben?
Yeah, I'd say tune in this Wednesday, May the 4th, for our special commentary. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Be sure to follow all of us on Twitter, Star Raptor, and then Real Ben Maynard for myself, and then at Milton Weber 7 for Milton. And we're always there talking up Star Wars, and then you guys can keep up, keep up with all of our updates. Keep up with, hey, we might go live an extra day earlier. We might go live here. We might do this, that, or the other thing. Just to keep up with more of the the channel updates in real time versus just waiting for a video to pop up on YouTube. You can be like, oh, hey, they're going live a half hour early tonight. Let's hop on. So it's it's a good thing. Just give us all a follow on Twitter, and we'll be happy to talk Star Wars with you guys.
There you go. And Milton was sorry he couldn't make it tonight, but he will be joining us hopefully on Wednesday night. So should be the three of us. We'll see what happens there. Always in motion, the future is, or whatever it is that Yoda says,
Yep.
right? Something along those lines. But anyway, for Ben, for myself, Chris, aka Star Raptor, thanks everybody for watching. This was Outer Rim Transmission number 56, end transmission. Holy moly, that was